What if I told you the most humiliating moment of your life was actually a test, and that test was worth $500 million? Close your eyes and picture a single dollar bill. For most people, it is nothing, a forgotten piece of paper in a wallet, not even enough for a cup of coffee anymore. But what if that dollar was a key? What if the smallest gesture you ever received was actually the most important moment of your life? This is the story of Elena Martinez, a woman who was drowning, a woman who had forgotten her own name beneath the weight of duty and grief, and bills that never stopped coming. A woman who served a meal to one of the world's most reclusive billionaires, and he left her a $1 tip on a $5,000 bill. But it is what she did next, her simple, unexpected reaction, that set in motion a chain of events that would unravel a 30-year-old secret and change her destiny forever. Stay with us, because this story will make you question everything you thought you knew about value, about dignity, and about what it means to choose grace when the world chooses cruelty. Let me show you her hands. That is where the story really begins. With hands. 3 years ago, these hands were covered in clay and charcoal. They moved with confidence, shaping wire and stone into forms that made professors at Pratt Institute stop and stare. These hands could see shapes in blocks of marble that no one else could see. They could take broken things and make them whole again. These were the hands of an artist, and they belonged to a young woman who believed the world was full of possibility. Now look at these same hands, calloused from hot plates and polishing cutlery, rough from industrial soap and scalding water, trembling from exhaustion at 2 a.m. as they sort through medical bills that multiply like weeds. These are the hands of a woman who has forgotten what it feels like to create anything except survival. Elena Martinez wakes at 6 a.m. to an alarm she has learned to hate. The sound cuts through her small studio apartment in Brooklyn like a knife. She does not move for 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds, where she can pretend today might be different. Then she opens her eyes and sees the same water stain on the ceiling she has been staring at for 3 years. And she remembers. Nothing is different. Nothing will ever be different. She turns off the alarm and lies still, listening. In the next room, behind a curtain that serves as a wall, her younger sister Sophia is sleeping. Elena can hear her breathing, slow and steady this morning, which is good. On bad mornings, Sophia's breathing is labored, wet, the sound of lungs that are betraying her. On very bad mornings, Elena wakes to find Sophia already awake, staring at the ceiling with that look in her eyes, the look that says she is doing the math, calculating how much longer, how much more her sister can take. But not this morning. This morning, Sophia is sleeping peacefully, and Elena allows herself to feel grateful for small mercies. She rises and moves through her morning routine with the efficiency of someone who has no time to waste. Shower in 4 minutes. Dress in the semi-darkness so she does not wake Sophia. Check the pill organizer that sits on the small kitchen counter. Monday, 6 pills for Sophia to take when she wakes. Pink one for inflammation, white one for pain, blue one for her immune system. The other 3 she can never remember the names of, but she knows their colors and their times like a prayer. Next to the pill organizer sits a stack of envelopes. Elena does not need to open them to know what they say. Past due. Final notice. Your account will be sent to collections. She has memorized every variation of the language these letters use. They all mean the same thing. You are drowning, and there is no shore in sight. She makes coffee in a machine that is older than her relationship with despair, pours it into a travel mug that has a crack down the side, and picks up her phone. No messages, no missed calls, just the date staring at her from the screen. Tuesday. Another Tuesday in an endless series of Tuesdays that all look exactly the same. Before she leaves, she walks to where Sophia sleeps and stands in the doorway. Her sister is 19 years old and looks like a child in the pre-dawn light, thin in a way that has nothing to do with youth and everything to do with disease. Systemic lupus erythematosus, the same disease that killed their mother 8 years ago, when Elena was 20 and Sophia was 11. Their father had died 2 years before that in a car accident, driving home exhausted from working a double shift. Rafael Martinez fell asleep at the wheel on a rainy December night and never woke up. He was 50 years old, Elena watches Sophia's chest rise and fall and feels the familiar terror that lives in her stomach like a stone. What if today is the day the breathing stops? What if she comes home and finds Sophia cold? What if everything she has sacrificed, every dream she has killed, every piece of herself she has buried is not enough? She pulls the curtain closed and leaves the apartment. The hallway smells like cooking oil and bleach. Mrs. Chen from 3B is already awake, running water in her sink. Mr. Okafor from 3D has his television on, the morning news bleeding through his door. Elena moves past all of it like a ghost. These people know her face, but not her name. She prefers it that way. The less people know about you, the less they can pity you. The subway at 6:30 in the morning is full of people who look just like Elena, tired, defeated, moving toward jobs that pay just enough to keep them trapped, but not enough to set them free. She stands, because there are no seats, and holds the pole with hands that are already aching. Around her, people stare at their phones, or sleep standing up, or simply gaze into nothing with eyes that have seen too much. Elena used to sketch on the subway. Back when she was a student, she would carry a small notebook and draw the faces around her. An old woman with grocery bags, a young father with a baby strapped to his chest, a businessman with his tie loosened and his soul leaking out through his eyes. She saw beauty everywhere back then. Now she just sees exhaustion. The Silver Dove is not the kind of restaurant where people like Elena usually work. It is too elegant, too expensive, too much like a museum where the art is food, and the patrons are collectors of experiences they will forget by morning. It sits on a quiet tree-lined street on the Upper East Side, the kind of street where even the air seems to cost money. Elena arrives at 7:15, goes through the service entrance, and enters a world that is not hers and never will be. The kitchen is already alive with motion. Chefs in white coats move with the precision of surgeons. Sous chefs chop vegetables with knives that cost more than Elena's rent. The morning prep crew works in silence because there is no time for talking when you are trying to achieve perfection that will be consumed and forgotten in under an hour. Elena bypasses the kitchen and heads to the staff locker room. She changes into her uniform, black dress, white apron, comfortable shoes that are still somehow instruments of torture by R10. She pulls her dark hair back into a tight bun and checks her reflection in the small mirror that hangs above the sink. The woman staring back at her is a stranger. 28 years old, but she looks older. There are lines at the corners of her eyes that were not there 3 years ago. A tightness in her jaw from grinding her teeth at night. A dimness in her eyes that comes from too many mornings exactly like this one. She practices her smile, the one she will wear for the next 12 hours. It is a good smile. She has perfected it over 3 years. It hides everything. Hides. In the dining room, she finds Maria Santos polishing silverware. Maria is 62 years old and has worked at the Silver Dove for more than 2 decades. She is the head waitress, the one everyone respects, the one who knows where every glass belongs and how to handle every type of difficult customer. She is also the closest thing Elena has to a mother figure, though neither of them has ever said this out loud. Maria looks up when Elena enters, and her eyes do that thing they always do. That quick assessment, checking for signs of collapse. Elena has learned that this is what love looks like when you are an adult, and everyone is just barely surviving. Not grand gestures, just someone noticing whether you are still standing. Good morning, mija. Maria's voice is warm like bread, soft like worn cloth. Did you eat breakfast? Elena lies. Yes. Maria does not believe her, but does not push. Instead, she hands Elena a section of silverware to polish. They work in silence for a few minutes, the only sound the soft whisper of cloth against metal. This is Elena's favorite part of the day. These quiet minutes before the restaurant opens, before the performance begins, just 2 women standing side by side, polishing silver that will be used and dirtied and polished again tomorrow. Maria breaks the silence. You look tired. Elena keeps polishing. I am fine. When is the last time you did something for yourself? Not for Sophia, not for this job, for you. Elena does not answer because she cannot remember. The question itself feels foreign, like asking her to recall a language she used to speak but has forgotten. Maria sets down her cloth and turns to face Elena fully. This is the thing about Maria. She does not let you hide. Mija, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You are running on fumes. What choice do I have? Elena's voice comes out sharper than she intends. Sophia needs me. The bills need paying. Life does not stop because I am tired. No, life does not stop. Maria's voice is gentle but firm. But you are stopping. You are stopping right in front of my eyes and you do not even see it. Elena wants to argue, but she is too exhausted. Instead, she returns to polishing, and after a moment, Maria does the same. They finish the silverware in silence, but it is not a comfortable silence anymore. It is the silence of truth that has been spoken and cannot be unspoken. At 8 o'clock, the rest of the staff arrives. Richard, the maitre d', comes in looking perpetually stressed despite the early hour. He is a thin man in his 50s who treats the reservation book like it is a sacred text, and any mistake is a mortal sin. Behind him come the other waiters and waitresses. June, a single mother in her 40s who works doubles whenever she can to save for her daughter's college. Diane, recently divorced, who treats work like a refuge from her empty apartment. Ben, young and still optimistic, who actually believes this is a stepping stone to something better. They all nod to each other with the camaraderie of soldiers who have survived the same war. Then Richard calls them together for the morning briefing. He goes over the reservation list, mentions VIP guests to watch for, reminds them about the new seasonal menu items. His voice is a drone that Elena has heard so many times she could recite it from memory. She nods in the right places and lets her mind drift. She is thinking about the studio apartment she shares with Sophia, about how the ceiling leak has gotten worse, about how the landlord has not returned her calls in 3 weeks, about how if they get evicted, she does not know where they will go. She is thinking about Sophia's next doctor's appointment and whether the insurance will approve the new treatment the specialist recommended. She is thinking about her mother, dead 8 years now, and whether Rosa would be proud or disappointed if she could see what Elena has become. The briefing ends and the staff disperses to their stations. Elena is assigned her usual section, tables 9 through 14, which includes the alcove near the garden. The good tables. The ones where people spend enough money to solve all of Elena's problems without even noticing the expense. The restaurant opens at 11:30 for lunch service. The first customers arrive exactly on time, as they always do. Wealthy people, Elena has learned, are punctual. They treat time like currency because for them it is. Every minute has value. Unlike Elena's time, which is measured only in how many hours she can stay upright before collapsing. She moves through her tables with practiced grace, takes orders, delivers food, refills water glasses, smiles her perfect smile. The customers do not see her, not really. They see the uniform, the service, the performance. But they do not see Elena Martinez, 28 years old, artist, sister, daughter, human being. They see a waitress, which is to say they see a function, not a person. This used to bother her. Now she is grateful for the invisibility. It makes the work easier. Lunch service is busy but manageable. A couple celebrating an anniversary. A business lunch where 3 men in expensive suits discuss deals that involve more money than Elena will see in her lifetime. A family with 2 young children who leave a mess that will take 10 minutes to clean. Elena handles all of it with the same calm efficiency, the same perfect smile. At 2:30, there is a lull. The lunch rush is over, and the dinner prep has not yet begun. Elena retreats to the staff break room and sits in a plastic chair that makes her back hurt. She pulls out her phone to check on Sophia. There is a text waiting, just 3 words. Feeling okay today? Elena reads those words and feels something in her chest loosen slightly. Okay is good. Okay means Sophia made it through the morning. Okay means Elena can keep going for a few more hours. She texts back, good. I will bring dinner home tonight. Maria is teaching me how to make her chicken soup. The response is immediate, you do not have to do that. Yes, I do, Elena types. You need to eat. So do you, comes the reply. And Elena feels a flash of irritation mixed with love. Her sister sees too much. Always has. She is about to respond when the break room door opens and Maria enters, carrying 2 paper bags. I made extra lunch, she says, handing one to Elena. Do not tell me you are not hungry. I can hear your stomach from the dining room. Elena wants to refuse, but the smell of Maria's homemade tamales makes her mouth water. She has not eaten since yesterday afternoon. She takes the bag. Thank you. Maria sits down beside her with her own lunch. They eat in companionable silence. The tamales are perfect, warm and filling. Elena eats slowly, trying to make it last. After a few minutes, Maria speaks. I heard something interesting this morning. Richard got a call. Special reservation for tonight. Very last minute. Very hush-hush. Elena does not look up from her food. VIP? Bigger than VIP. Maria lowers her voice even though they are alone. Marcus Sterling. Elena stops chewing. The Marcus Sterling, the billionaire? The same. Maria nods. Richard is having a nervous breakdown in his office. Sterling never eats out. Never. There are like 10 photos of him in existence. He is like a ghost who happens to own half the world. Why would he come here? Who knows? Maria shrugs. But Richard assigned the reservation to your section. Table 12. Elena feels a flutter of something in her stomach. Not excitement exactly. More like dread. Table 12 is in the alcove, the most private table in the restaurant. It is where proposals happen, where deals are closed, where people come when they need discretion. If Marcus Sterling is coming and sitting at table 12, it means something significant is happening. Do not look so nervous, mija. Maria touches her arm. You are the best server we have. You will be fine. Elena is not worried about being fine. She is worried about the pressure, about what happens if she makes a mistake, about whether this could somehow impossibly be an opportunity or just another moment where she serves wealth and goes home to poverty. They finish their lunch and return to the floor. The afternoon is quiet. A few tables for early dinner. An older couple who barely speak to each other. A woman dining alone with a book. Elena moves through her routine on autopilot, but part of her mind is fixed on tonight, on table 12, on Marcus Sterling. At 5 o'clock, Richard gathers the evening staff for a briefing. His face is red and there is sweat on his upper lip despite the air conditioning. Listen up, everyone. We have a situation. Mr. Black has reserved table 12 for 8 o'clock. 2 guests. This is code for someone very important. He pauses for effect, then continues. I cannot stress enough how critical this is. No mistakes, no small talk. Just perfect, invisible service. Martinez, you have the table. Elena nods. Richard looks like he wants to say more, but instead just waves them away. Get ready, we have 3 hours. The next 3 hours pass in a blur of preparation. The kitchen goes into overdrive. The front of house staff polishes everything that can be polished. Richard rearranges the flowers at table 12 3 times. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife. Elena tries to stay calm, but her hands are shaking slightly when she sets the table. She tells herself this is just another shift, just another customer. The amount of money in his bank account does not change the fact that he will need water and food and a clean napkin. She can do this. She has done this 1,000 times. At 7:45, she is standing at her station, hands clasped behind her back, wearing her perfect smile. The other staff members keep glancing toward the entrance, waiting. At exactly 8 o'clock, the door opens. The room changes. Elena cannot explain it, but she feels it. A shift in the atmosphere, like the air pressure has dropped before a storm. Conversations lower in volume. People glance up from their meals. 2 men enter. The first is easy to read. Late 40s, silver hair, tailored suit that probably cost more than Elena's car. A Rolex that catches the light with every gesture. He moves with the confidence of a man who is used to being important. This must be Sterling's associate or lawyer or whatever billionaires bring to dinner. But it is the second man who holds the room's gravity. He is older, perhaps in his late 60s. White hair, dark intelligent eyes, face that looks like it has been carved from granite. He wears a simple dark gray suit, impeccably tailored, but without any visible brand or flash. Everything about him is understated, controlled, intentional. He does not look around the room the way his companion does. He simply moves through space as if he owns it, which in a sense he probably does. This is Marcus Sterling. Richard appears as if materialized from thin air, smoothing down his jacket. Good evening, gentlemen. Right this way, please. He leads them to table 12. Elena takes a deep breath and follows at a respectful distance. When they are seated, she approaches with water glasses already in hand. Good evening, gentlemen. Her voice is smooth, professional, betraying none of the nervous energy in her chest. My name is Elena, and I will be taking care of you this evening. May I pour you some water? The first man waves a dismissive hand without looking at her. Voss. Still. 2 bottles, and we will have the 98 Chateau Margaux. He is already looking at his phone. Elena might as well be a piece of furniture. But Marcus Sterling is looking directly at her. His gaze is not unkind, but it is not warm either. It is analytical, assessing. She feels like a specimen under a microscope and she does not understand why. His dark eyes take in everything. The slight tremor in her hand as she pours the water. The worn cuff on her uniform that she has tried to hide. The practiced smile that does not quite reach her eyes. Thank you, Elena. His voice is a low baritone, gravelly with age but clear as a bell. It is the first time in a long time that a customer has used her name with such deliberate clarity. You are welcome, sir. She sets down the water glasses and steps back. I will return with your wine and to take your order. She retreats to the service station and busies herself with retrieving the wine from the cellar. Her hands are still shaking. There was something about the way he looked at her. Not with judgment exactly, more like recognition. Like he saw something in her that she thought she had hidden. She shakes off the feeling and returns with the wine, goes through the ritual of presenting the bottle, opening it, pouring a taste for approval. Sterling nods without fanfare, and she fills both glasses. Then she stands ready to take their order. The first man orders for both of them without consulting Sterling. The tasting menu, all 7 courses. And make sure the portions are appropriate. Last time I was here, the servings were too small. Of course, sir. Elena makes notes on her pad. Any dietary restrictions? No, the man is already back on his phone. Elena glances at Sterling. He is looking at her again with that same intense focus. Is there anything else I can get for you, sir? No, thank you, Elena. He pauses. The pineapple. The carved finial on the top of the banquette. It is new. Elena is surprised he noticed. The finial is a decorative piece, a carved wooden pineapple that sits atop the corner post of the alcove's seating. It had been broken a month ago by a rowdy guest. The owner, Mr. Russo, had gotten a quote for professional repair that made him turn pale. So Elena had quietly taken the pieces home. She had spent hours in her tiny apartment, using what remained of her old woodworking tools, carefully gluing and recarving the damaged sections to match the original design. She had brought it back a week later, and no one had said a word about it. Until now. Yes, sir. The original was damaged. Elena keeps her voice neutral. This one is a restoration. You did it. Again, not a question, a statement. How does he know? Yes, sir. She sees no point in lying. The owner could not afford a professional restoration. I have some experience with woodworking. Sterling studies the finial for a long moment. Then he looks back at her. It is better than the original. The lines are cleaner, more confident. He turns to his menu, leaving Elena standing there, stunned. She waits a moment to see if he will say more, but he does not. She nods and retreats to put in their order. Her mind is racing. How did he know she had done the repair? Has he been here before? Has he been watching? The thought sends a chill down her spine. The evening progresses with the careful choreography of fine dining. Elena brings course after course. Amuse-bouche, first course, second course. Each plate is a work of art that will be consumed in minutes. Sterling's companion, whose name she learns is Vincent Cross, dominates the conversation. He talks loudly about acquisitions and market share, and people whose names Elena does not recognize but who are apparently important. He is performing, she realizes, trying to impress Sterling. But Sterling himself is mostly silent. He eats slowly, deliberately. His eyes occasionally flick up to watch Elena as she clears plates or refills water. Each time, she feels that same intense observation. It is unnerving, but not threatening, more like he is trying to solve a puzzle. And she is the last piece. When she brings the 5th course, a beautifully plated duck breast with cherry reduction, crosses in the middle of a story about closing some deal. Sterling cuts him off mid-sentence. Elena. His voice is quiet, but it commands attention. Tell me, do you enjoy your work here? The question catches her off guard. Customers do not usually ask her personal questions. Yes, sir. It is good work. That is not what I asked. His dark eyes hold hers. I asked if you enjoy it. Elena feels something crack in her carefully maintained facade. No one has asked her that in 3 years. No one has looked at her like she is a person with feelings and dreams and a life that matters. She opens her mouth to give him the polite lie, then stops. There is something in his gaze that makes lying feel impossible. I do not think about enjoyment anymore, sir. She keeps her voice low. I think about whether I can pay my bills and whether my sister can get her medicine. Enjoyment is a luxury I gave up. She sees something flash in his eyes. Surprise? Respect? She cannot tell. He nods once, slowly, as if she has confirmed something he suspected. Thank you for your honesty. Cross looks annoyed at being interrupted, but Sterling does not seem to care. Elena retreats again, her heart pounding. What just happened? Why did she tell him that? She never breaks character. Never. The rest of the meal passes without incident. Sterling says little, Cross talks enough for both of them. When they finish dessert, a perfectly constructed chocolate souffle, Cross signals for the check. Elena processes the payment, a black credit card with no name, only a number. The total is $4,815.62. She places the leather billfold on the table and steps back. Cross is already on his phone, loudly discussing his next meeting. Sterling takes the billfold, examines the receipt, and writes something. He places it back in the folder along with something else. Then he looks at Elena one more time. Thank you, Elena. His voice is soft. It was an excellent meal. Thank you, sir. I hope you will visit us again soon. He stands, and Cross follows, still talking on his phone. They leave through the front entrance. The room seems to exhale in their absence. Elena waits a full 5 minutes before approaching the table. She tells herself it is because she wants to give them time to fully exit. Really, it is because she is terrified of what she will find in that billfold. Every other staff member is watching her with a mixture of awe and envy. The Sterling table. The tip will be legendary. Her hands shake as she picks up the leather folder. It feels strangely light. She opens it. On the line designated for gratuity, Marcus Sterling has written in firm, clear script, $1.00. Beside it, the grand total, $4,816.62. Tucked into the sleeve is a single crisp $1 bill. Brand new, so perfect it looks like it was printed this morning. George Washington's face stares up at her with an expression that might be judgment or pity or nothing at all. $1. The number sits in her mind like a stone. The room has gone silent. Everyone is staring at her. She can feel their eyes like heat on her skin. They are waiting to see the legendary tip, waiting to congratulate her, waiting to feel vicariously wealthy. Elena stares at the dollar bill. Her first instinct is a flash of pure rage, white hot and blinding. How dare he? This man who could buy her entire building without noticing the expense. This man who just spent nearly $5,000 on dinner. This man who looked her in the eye and asked if she enjoyed her work. He left her $1, not zero. Zero would have been an oversight, a mistake made by someone unused to handling his own affairs. But $1 is intentional. $1 requires thought. $1 is a message. The humiliation is a physical thing. She feels it crawl up her neck like fire. Her throat tightens. Her vision blurs at the edges. Around her, the other staff members have gone silent as the news spreads. She sees June's face, sympathy mixed with horror. Diane is shaking her head. Ben looks like he might cry on her behalf. Then Maria is there, her warm hand on Elena's shoulder. Come with me, mija. Right now. Maria guides her to the staff break room and closes the door. Elena stands in the middle of the small room, still holding the leather billfold, still staring at that single dollar bill. She cannot seem to make her hands move to put it down. Let me see. Maria takes the billfold gently. She looks at the receipt, at the dollar bill. Her face hardens. That bastard. Why? Elena's voice comes out as a whisper. Why would he do that? Because he is a rich man who thinks money makes him God. Maria is angry in a way Elena rarely sees her. Because he looks at people like us and sees nothing. We are furniture to him, functions. But he asked me... Elena cannot finish the sentence. Her mind is trying to reconcile the man who looked at her with such intensity, who noticed her woodworking, who asked if she enjoyed her work, with the man who left a $1 tip. It does not matter what he asked. Maria sets down the billfold. What matters is what he did, and what he did was cruel. Elena finally sets the dollar bill on the table. She looks at it lying there, this small piece of paper that somehow contains her entire worth in Marcus Sterling's eyes. 100 cents, the price of her 12 hours of work, the value of her perfect smile and her aching feet and her swallowed pride. Something inside her begins to shift. The rage is still there, hot and sharp. But underneath it, something else is rising, something that feels like defiance. Her mother's voice echoes in her memory. A moment from long ago, Elena at 18, crying because she had been rejected from a gallery show. Her mother sitting beside her on the couch, warm hand on her knee. Mia, listen to me. They can take your money. They can take your time. They can take your opportunities. But never, ever let them take your grace. You understand? I do not feel graceful, Elena had said through tears. I feel rejected. Grace is not about how you feel, her mother had replied. Grace is about who you choose to be when someone treats you poorly. It is the hardest strength there is. Standing in the break room of the Silver Dove, holding a $1 bill that was meant to break her, Elena makes a choice. She will not let it break her. She will not give Marcus Sterling that power. She picks up the dollar bill and folds it carefully. Then she goes to her locker and retrieves the customer copy of the receipt that Sterling had signed, the one meant for his records, the one he had left behind on the table. Maria watches her with concern. Elena, what are you doing? Something I should have done a long time ago. Elena's voice is steady now. I am going to respond. Respond? How? With grace. She takes the receipt and sits down at the small table in the corner. She finds a pen in her apron. For a long moment, she just stares at the blank space on the back of the receipt. What does Grace look like in this moment? What would her mother do? Then she begins to write. Her handwriting is neat, each letter formed with care. This is not anger speaking. This is something deeper, something true. Mr. Sterling, she writes, thank you for dining at the Silver Dove tonight. On this receipt, you valued my service at $1. I want you to know that I accept it. Not as an insult, but as a challenge. She pauses, pen hovering. What is she trying to say? What does she need him to know? You see, a single dollar can be powerful. For some, it is the start of a fortune. For others, it is the meal they were not sure they would have. It can be a seed or it can be a symbol. You are clearly a man who understands the value of building something from nothing. So I will treat this dollar with the respect it deserves. I will invest it, not in stocks or bonds, but in a moment of kindness for someone who needs it more than I do. Perhaps a coffee for someone on a cold morning, or a flower for someone having a terrible day. Thank you for this reminder that true value is not what is written on a check, but what one chooses to do with what they are given. I hope you have a safe evening. She signs it. Elena Martinez, table 12, the woman who carved her mother's face into a broken pineapple, hoping someone would see her. She reads it over once. It is not angry. It is not accusatory. It is simply honest. It is grace, she thinks, or at least her best attempt at it. Maria has been reading over her shoulder. Oh, mija. Her voice is thick with emotion. Your mother would be so proud. I hope so. Elena folds the receipt carefully. Now I just need to send it to him. Maria looks doubtful. Elena, we cannot contact guests. Richard would have a heart attack. You could lose your job. I know. Elena stands. But I am going to do it anyway. Because if I do not, I will hate myself more than I hate him. She finds Richard in his office, hunched over the reservation book like it holds the secrets of the universe. Richard, I need the booking address for table 12. Richard looks up, startled. What? No, absolutely not. We do not contact guests. He left his customer a copy of the receipt. Elena keeps her voice calm. It is a business expense. He will need it for his records. I am just being professional. Richard starts to argue, but Elena does not move. She simply stands there, holding the receipt, her expression neutral. Finally, he sighs and scribbles an address on a piece of paper. Sterling Consolidated, 450 Park Avenue. This never happened, he says. If anyone asks, I never gave you that address. Thank you, Richard. Elena leaves the restaurant through the service entrance. The night air is cold against her flushed face. She stands on the sidewalk for a moment, breathing, trying to slow her racing heart. Then she starts walking. At a corner bodega, she buys a stamp and an envelope with the $1 bill. The clerk barely looks at her. With the change, exactly 75 cents, she buys a small coffee. She continues walking until she sees a figure huddled in a doorway. An older woman, maybe 60, wrapped in layers of clothing that are not warm enough for the October night. The woman's hands are rough and red from cold. Her eyes are tired in a way that Elena recognizes. The eyes of someone who has been invisible for too long. Elena approaches slowly. Excuse me. She holds out the coffee. For you. The woman looks up, suspicious at first. Then she sees Elena's face and something in her expression softens. Why? Because someone reminded me that I am still capable of kindness. Elena's voice is gentle. And I needed to remember that. The woman takes the coffee with shaking hands. She sips it and closes her eyes. God bless you, honey. Thank you for letting me see you. Elena's throat is tight. Most people do not. I know the feeling. The woman looks at Elena with eyes that see too much. You look lost. I am. Elena surprises herself by admitting it. But I am trying to find my way back. Then this coffee will not help me as much as giving it helped you. The woman raises the cup in a small salute. Thank you for seeing me too. Elena walks to the nearest post office. It is late, but there is a mail drop outside. She seals the receipt in the envelope, addresses it carefully. Sterling Consolidated, 450 Park Avenue. In the return address space, she writes nothing, just a blank space where her name might have been. Her hand hovers over the mail slot. This is the point of no return. If she drops this envelope, there is no taking it back. She could lose her job. She could be blacklisted from every restaurant in the city. Marcus Sterling could make her life even more difficult than it already is. But her mother's voice is in her head again. Never let them take your grace. She thinks about the wooden finial, how she had repaired it in the quiet hours of the night, asking for nothing in return, simply because something broken deserved to be made whole. She thinks about Sophia, fighting every day to stay alive. She thinks about her father, who died exhausted from working double shifts, trying to provide for his family. She thinks about her mother, who chose grace even when the world chose cruelty. Elena drops the envelope into the slot. It disappears with a soft whisper of paper against metal. It is done. She stands there for a moment, breathing in the cold night air, feeling lighter than she has in months. She has just done something impossible. She has chosen who she wants to be instead of accepting who the world says she is. It is a small choice, perhaps. A letter sent, a coffee given, a dollar transformed from an insult into a seed. But her mother was right. Grace is the hardest strength there is. And tonight, Elena was strong. She walks home through streets that suddenly seem less hostile. The city lights reflect off puddles left by an afternoon rain. A couple walks past, laughing. A taxi honks. Somewhere, a dog barks. The world continues, indifferent to her small act of defiance. But Elena feels different. When she gets home, Sophia is awake, sitting on the couch in her pajamas, wrapped in a blanket. Lena, you are late. I know, sorry. Elena sits beside her sister and pulls her close. How are you feeling? I am okay. Sophia studies her face. What happened? You look different. Elena tells her. All of it. The dinner, the tip, the letter, the coffee. Sophia listens without interrupting, her dark eyes wide. When Elena finishes, Sophia is quiet for a long moment. Then she speaks. Mama would be proud of you. Elena feels tears prick her eyes. I hope so. I am trying, querida. I am trying to be the person she believed I could be. You are. Sophia takes her hand. You already are. They sit together in the quiet apartment, two sisters who have survived too much, holding on to each other in the darkness. Outside, the city continues its endless motion. But here, in this small space, there is peace. Elena does not know what will come of the letter. She does not know if Marcus Sterling will even read it. She does not know if she has just made a terrible mistake or taken the first step towards something she cannot yet imagine. What she knows is this. Tonight, she chose grace over bitterness. She chose to create beauty from cruelty. She chose to be Elena Martinez, artist, sister, daughter, human being with dignity and worth that cannot be measured in dollar signs. And that, she thinks as she falls asleep beside her sister, is enough. For tonight, it is enough. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, more bills, more 12-hour shifts, more exhaustion that lives in her bones. But tonight, she planted a seed, a single dollar transformed into kindness, into grace, into a message sent across the vast distance between her world and Marcus Sterling's. And seeds, her father used to say, have a way of growing into things you never expected, even when planted in the hardest ground, especially then. The waiting is the hardest part. Every person who has ever done something brave knows this truth. The moment of action is almost easy by comparison. You make your choice, you commit, and for a brief shining instant, you feel like a hero in your own story. But then comes the aftermath, the silence, the terrible uncertainty of wondering whether you have just changed your life or destroyed it. Elena Martinez knows this waiting intimately. 7 days have passed since she dropped that envelope into the mail slot. 7 days of jumping every time her phone rings. 7 days of checking the mail with hands that shake. 7 days of lying awake at 3 in the morning, replaying the letter in her mind, wondering if she was too honest or not honest enough, too proud or too vulnerable, or too. The restaurant has been mercifully busy, which means less time to think. Spring is arriving in Manhattan, and with it comes the usual influx of tourists and celebrations, and people with money to spend on meals that cost more than Elena makes in a week. She moves through her shifts on autopilot, serving truffle risotto and aged steaks, smiling her perfect smile while her mind circles endlessly around the same questions. Did he read it? Was he angry? Will there be consequences? Richard the maitre d' has been watching her with barely concealed suspicion. He knows something happened with the Sterling table, but Elena has told no one except Maria the full story. Let Richard wonder. She has bigger concerns. Like Sophia, her sister has been declining for the past week. Nothing dramatic, nothing that would alarm a stranger. But Elena sees it in the small things. The way Sophia moves more slowly from bed to couch. The way she falls asleep in the middle of conversations. The dark circles under her eyes that makeup cannot hide. The cough that has started, dry and persistent, the kind that makes Elena's stomach clench with fear, because their mother's cough sounded exactly the same in the months before she died. On the 8th day after mailing the letter, Elena wakes to find Sophia already awake, sitting on the edge of her bed, breathing carefully like each inhale requires concentration. The morning light coming through their thin curtains makes her look translucent, ethereal, like she might disappear if Elena looks away. How long have you been up? Elena keeps her voice soft, trying to hide her alarm. I do not know. An hour, maybe. Sophia tries to smile, but it comes out wrong. I could not sleep. Do you need to go to the hospital? No. Sophia's answer comes too fast. No hospital, we cannot afford it. Sophia, if you need medical care, then we cannot afford it, Lena. Sophia's voice is firm despite her weakness. The last ER visit cost us $3,000. $3,000 we do not have. I am fine. I just need to rest. Elena wants to argue, but she can hear in her sister's voice that the conversation is over. Sophia has inherited their mother's stubbornness, that Martinez's refusal to be a burden even when dying. Elena recognizes it because she carries the same curse. She helps Sophia back into bed, makes sure she has water and her pills within reach, then gets ready for her shift. The morning feels heavy, weighted with dread. She keeps her phone volume on high, checking it compulsively even though Sophia has texted her 3 times already saying she is fine. Stop worrying, go to work. At the Silver Dove, Maria takes one look at Elena's face and pulls her aside before the lunch rush begins. What happened? Sophia is getting worse. Elena's voice is flat, emptied of emotion, because if she lets herself feel right now, she will not be able to function. I can see it. She's fading. Maria's face tightens with concern. Have you talked to her doctor? She is supposed to have an appointment next week, but I do not know if she can wait that long. Elena leans against the wall, suddenly exhausted. And even if we go, I do not know how we will pay for whatever new treatment they recommend. The insurance has denied the last 2 claims. They say her condition is not critical enough for experimental therapies. Mia, you cannot. Maria stops, seems to search for words. You cannot let her die because of money. You have to find a way. I am trying. Elena closes her eyes. I sent that letter to Sterling. Maybe it was stupid. Maybe it accomplished nothing. But I had to try something. I had to believe that somewhere in the city there is someone who will help us. Maria pulls her into a brief, fierce hug. Your mother always said the universe provides. Sometimes we just have to be brave enough to ask. The lunch service passes in a blur. Elena's mind is elsewhere, half listening for her phone, half running through impossible calculations. If she picks up extra shifts, works doubles every day this week, she might make enough to cover 1 doctor's visit. But the medication Sophia needs costs $15,000 per treatment cycle. Even if Elena never slept, never ate, worked every waking hour, she would never make that much money in time. At 2:30, during the lull between lunch and dinner, Elena sits in the break room and calls Sophia. The phone rings 4 times before her sister answers, and that alone makes Elena's chest tight with worry. Sophia always answers on the first ring. Hey, Sophia's voice sounds tired. I'm okay. You do not sound okay. I'm just resting, do not worry. Elena is about to respond when there is a sound in the background. A knock, then a man's voice, muffled but audible. Sophia, did you call the doctor? No, Sophia's voice trails off. Lena, I have to go. Someone is here. Who is there? Elena sits up straight. Sophia, who? The call disconnects. Elena stares at her phone, heart pounding. She texts immediately. Who is that? Are you okay? No response. She tries calling back. It goes straight to voicemail. She tries again. Same result. Panic rises in her throat like bile. She is about to leave the restaurant, consequences be damned, when her phone finally buzzes. A text from Sophia. Sorry, phone died. I am fine. A nurse from the clinic stopped by to check on me. Everything is okay. Elena reads it 3 times. Something about it feels wrong. Sophia's phone was charged this morning. And since when does the clinic send nurses for home visits? They barely return phone calls. But what choice does she have? She cannot abandon her shift based on a feeling. She forces herself to breathe, to trust that Sophia is telling the truth, to focus on the work in front of her. The afternoon crawls by with agonizing slowness. Elena is refilling water glasses at table 10 when she notices the black SUV parked across the street. It is the 3rd time this week she has seen it. Same make, same tinted windows, same spot. Someone is watching the restaurant, watching her. She mentions it to Maria during the dinner prep. I think someone is following me. Maria looks out the window frowning. How long has this been going on? Since the Sterling dinner. Maybe before. I cannot be sure. Elena feels paranoid saying it out loud, but the fear is real. What if he was so insulted by my letter that he sent someone to... To what? Maria touches her arm gently. Elena, you are exhausted. You are worried about Sophia. Maybe you are seeing things that are not there. Maybe. But Elena does not think so. She has spent 3 years learning to be invisible, learning to notice who is watching and who is not. Someone is definitely watching. The SUV is still there when her shift ends at 10. She exits through the service entrance and walks quickly toward the subway, glancing over her shoulder every few steps. The SUV does not follow. She does not see anyone on foot either. But the feeling of being observed follows her all the way home. Sophia is asleep when Elena arrives. She looks peaceful in the yellow glow of the single lamp they leave on at night. Elena stands in the doorway, watching her sister breathe, counting each inhale and exhale like prayer beads. 17, 18, 19. As long as Sophia keeps breathing, there is hope. Elena falls asleep on the couch, too tired to move to her own bed. She dreams of drowning, of reaching for a surface she cannot see, of lungs that burn and arms that will not stop pulling her down. She wakes to her phone buzzing, 6:30 in the morning, an unknown number. Elena almost does not answer, but something makes her pick up. Is this Elena Martinez? A woman's voice, professional and crisp. Yes. Who is this? My name is Catherine Blake. I am an attorney. I represent a client who would like to meet with you to discuss a matter of potential significance. Elena is suddenly wide awake. What matter? What client? I am not at liberty to say over the phone. There is a pause, the sound of papers rustling. However, my client has authorized me to extend an invitation for a meeting this Friday at 2 o'clock. A car will be sent to collect you at 1:15. I work Fridays. Elena's mind is racing. I cannot just leave in the middle of a shift. I would suggest you make arrangements. Catherine Blake's tone suggests this is not a request. This is an important opportunity, Ms. Martinez. I would not want you to miss it. What kind of opportunity? Elena demands. And who is your client? All will be explained at the meeting. The woman's voice softens slightly. I understand this is unusual, but I promise you it will be worth your time. You have my word. Your word means nothing to me. I do not even know who you are. Then let me tell you something that might help you decide. There is a pause, weighted with meaning. Your sister, Sophia Martinez. She is 19 years old. She has systemic lupus erythematosus. Her current treatment is not working. The new protocol her specialist recommended costs $15,000 per cycle, and your insurance has denied coverage. Elena's blood runs cold. How do you know that? My client is prepared to help. Catherine Blake continues as if Elena has not spoken. But first, we need to meet. Face to face, are you available Friday at 2? Are you available? Elena's mind is spinning. This woman knows about Sophia, knows details that should be private. Medical information, financial information. The nurse who visited yesterday. It was not a nurse at all, was it? Someone has been investigating her family. She should be terrified. She should refuse. This is not normal. This is not safe. But Sophia is dying and Elena is out of options. I will be there, she says finally. Where? The driver will know. Catherine Blake sounds satisfied. Oh, and Ms. Martinez? This conversation is confidential. Do not discuss it with anyone. We will explain everything on Friday. The call disconnects before Elena can respond. She sits on the couch in the gray dawn light, holding her phone, trying to process what just happened. Someone knows about Sophia. Someone has been watching their family, investigating them, gathering information. And now someone wants to meet. She thinks about the letter she sent to Sterling. Could this be connected? It has to be. The timing is too perfect. But why the secrecy? Why investigate her family? What kind of meeting requires this level of cloak and dagger? Sophia stirs in the next room. Lena, you are awake early. Just got a call. Work stuff. Elena tries to keep her voice normal. Go back to sleep. She spends the rest of the morning in a fog of anxiety and speculation. She calls in sick to the restaurant, something she has never done in 3 years. Richard sounds annoyed but does not push. Maria texts her asking if everything is okay, and Elena lies, says she has a stomach bug, will be back tomorrow. The days until Friday crawl by with excruciating slowness. Elena goes through the motions of her life, but her mind is elsewhere. She works her shifts. She takes care of Sophia. She avoids questions from Maria, who clearly knows something is wrong. And every night she lies awake, trying to imagine what Friday will bring. Thursday evening, Elena is walking home from the subway when she sees him. A man in an expensive suit standing outside her building, looking at his phone. He is maybe late 40s, silver hair, something familiar about him that makes Elena slow her pace. He glances up, sees her, and his face registers recognition. Ms. Martinez. He steps forward. My name is Vincent Cross. I was hoping we could talk. Do I know you? Elena keeps her distance, hand on her phone, ready to call for help. We have not formally met, but I was at the Silver Dove last week. I was dining with Marcus Sterling. His smile is practice, salesman smooth. I understand you have a meeting tomorrow with Sterling's lawyers. I wanted to offer you some advice before you go. How do you know about that meeting? Elena's alarm bells are ringing louder. Who are you? I am someone who knows Marcus Sterling very well. I worked for him for 15 years. Cross takes a step closer, and Elena takes a step back, maintaining distance. And I know what he is trying to do to you. I wanted to warn you. Warn me about what? He is going to make you an offer. A very generous offer. Money for your sister's medical care. Funding for your art. He is going to make it sound like he is helping you out of the goodness of his heart. Cross's voice drops, becomes urgent. But it is not help, Ms. Martinez. It is a transaction. He wants something from you, and he is willing to pay for it. What could he possibly want from me? Your story, your silence, your cooperation. Cross leans in. Marcus Sterling did not become a billionaire by being nice. He became a billionaire by using people and discarding them when they are no longer useful. You do not even know what he is going to offer me. Elena tries to step around him, but he moves to block her path. I know Marcus. I know how he operates. He finds someone vulnerable, someone desperate, and he exploits that desperation. Cross pulls out a business card, forces it into Elena's hand. When you figure out what he is really after, call me. I can help you. For real. Not whatever fake help he is offering. Why would you help me? Because I want to see Marcus Sterling brought down. Cross's smile turns sharp, predatory. And I think you might be the person to do it. He walks away before Elena can respond, disappearing into the evening foot traffic. She looks at the card in her hand. Vincent Cross. Global strategy consultant, a phone number, an email address. Elena climbs the stairs to her apartment slowly, mind racing. 2 people reaching out to her in 1 week, both connected to Marcus Sterling, both claiming they want to help. But their definitions of help feel very different. Catherine Blake's call was professional, organized, official. Vincent Cross's ambush was aggressive, desperate, dangerous. She should throw away his card. She should forget the conversation ever happened. Instead, she tucks the card into her wallet, just in case. Friday morning arrives bright and cold. Elena wakes early and spends an hour choosing what to wear to this mysterious meeting. Her wardrobe is limited. 3 years as a waitress has not left room for business attire. She settles on black pants and a simple blouse, the same outfit she wore to her mother's funeral 8 years ago. It still fits, but barely. She has lost weight since then, grief and poverty carving her down to bone and wire. Sophia watches her get ready. "You look nice. Where are you going?" "Job interview." The lie comes easily, just exploring some options. "Good. You should." Sophia's smile is encouraging, but Elena can see the effort it costs her. "You deserve better than the silver dove." At 1:15 exactly, a black town car pulls up outside their building. The driver is professional, silent, opens the door without a word. Elena gets in, and the car glides into traffic. She watches the city pass outside the tinted windows and feels like she is being taken somewhere she can never return from. The office of Blake & Associates is on the 55th floor of a building on Park Avenue. The elevator ride up is so smooth, Elena barely feels the motion. Just the subtle pressure in her ears as they rise higher and higher above the city. When the doors open, she steps into a world that might as well be on another planet from hers. Everything is white and gray and expensive. Marble floors that reflect light like water, walls covered in soft leather, art that Elena recognizes from textbooks, pieces that belong in museums now hanging in a law office. The receptionist is a woman who looks like she has never smiled in her life. She directs Elena to a conference room without warmth or welcome. The conference room has one wall made entirely of glass. Elena can see the city spread out below, tiny cars and tinier people moving through their lives, unaware that high above them, fates are being decided. She sits at the enormous table and waits. 5 minutes pass. 10. Elena's nerves are stretched tight. Then the door opens and a woman enters. She's in her 50s, Elena guesses. Sharp features, gray hair pulled back in a severe style. She wears a perfectly tailored suit in charcoal gray and carries herself like someone who has never lost an argument in her life. Her eyes are the pale blue of winter ice. "Ms. Martinez." The woman's voice matches her appearance. Cool, controlled, intelligent. "I am Catherine Blake. Thank you for coming." She sits across from Elena and places a thin leather portfolio on the table between them. No small talk, no pleasantries. Just straight to business. I will be direct as I find it saves time. Catherine Blake folds her hands on the table. "I represent a client who has taken an interest in your situation. This client has become aware of certain financial hardships you are facing, specifically regarding your sister's medical care." Elena's heart is pounding. "Who's your client?" "My client prefers to remain anonymous at this stage." Catherine's expression does not change. "Let us simply call him a benefactor." "A benefactor?" Elena tastes the word and finds it bitter. "Why would anyone want to be my benefactor?" "Because you impressed him." Catherine opens the portfolio and Elena sees documents, official-looking papers covered in dense legal text. "My client is prepared to establish a trust. This trust will cover, in full, all of Sophia Martinez's medical expenses, past, present, and future. Additionally, it will provide a generous monthly stipend for her living and care expenses." Elena stares at the papers. The words swim in front of her eyes. Full coverage, past, present, future. Sophia would never have to worry about medical bills again. Would never have to ration her medication or skip appointments because they cannot afford the copay. Would live. Why? The question comes out as barely more than a whisper. Why would anyone do this? "My client believes in targeted philanthropy." Catherine's tone is smooth, practiced. He identifies individuals who are facing undue hardship and provides assistance. No strings attached. Elena does not phrase it as a question because she knows that is not possible. Nothing is free. Not in the world these people inhabit. Catherine's lips curve in something that might be a smile on a warmer person. "There is no catch in the way you might mean. There is, however, a condition. A formality." She slides another document across the table. It is thick, bound, covered in the kind of legal language designed to obscure rather than clarify. Elena recognizes it immediately from television shows. A non-disclosure agreement. "You will be required to sign this," Catherine continues, agreeing never to discuss the source of these funds, this meeting, or my client with anyone for any reason. Elena picks up the NDA and flips through it, Page after page of legalese, but the core message is clear. Take the money and shut up about where it came from. Become complicit in her own rescue. Furthermore, Catherine pauses, and Elena looks up. My client owns several art galleries and foundations. He is always looking for new talent to support. He is prepared to offer you a significant personal grant, enough to allow you to leave your current employment and return to your artistic pursuits full-time. It is the dream. The impossible buried dream that Elena killed 3 years ago when she dropped out of Pratt. No more restaurant, no more polishing silverware and forcing smiles and coming home with feet that scream and a soul that is dying. Just art. Just creation. Just the life she was supposed to have before grief and duty and poverty stole it away. And it feels wrong, deeply fundamentally wrong. How much? Elena's voice is steady. How much is he offering? Catherine names a figure that makes Elena's vision swim. It is more money than Elena has made in the past 5 years combined. It is freedom, security, a future. It is a cage with golden bars. I need to think about this. Elena pushes the papers back across the table. This is a lot to process. Of course. Catherine's expression suggests she expected this. You have until Monday to decide. But, Ms. Martinez, I would strongly encourage you not to let pride or suspicion prevent you from accepting an extraordinary opportunity. Pride or suspicion? Elena almost laughs. No, what is preventing her is the memory of her mother's voice. Never let them take your grace. How can she maintain grace while signing away her right to tell the truth? May I ask you something, Ms. Blake? Elena keeps her voice level. Did you ever want to be something other than a lawyer? Catherine's professional mask slips for just a fraction of a second. Her eyes widen slightly. I am not sure I understand the question. It is just. Elena gestures at the expensive office, at Catherine's perfect suit, at the life this woman has built. You seem very successful, very controlled. But I look at your hands and I see artist's hands. The way you touch that portfolio. The way your eyes went to the painting on the wall when you first sat down. You see details most people miss. Catherine is silent. Her face has gone very still. I think we have both been hiding who we are, Elena continues quietly, for different reasons, but hiding nonetheless. So before I decide whether to sign papers that require me to hide even more, I need to know, is this what living looks like? Or is this just a different kind of death? Catherine opens her mouth, closes it. For the first time since Elena entered the room, the lawyer looks uncertain. Finally, she speaks, and her voice has lost some of its professional polish. You should take the offer, Ms. Martinez. It is more than generous. It is life-changing. That is not what I asked. Catherine stands abruptly. I will give you until Monday. Please see yourself out. She leaves the room quickly, almost fleeing. Elena sits alone at the massive table, looking out at the city below. She has just been offered everything she needs to save Sophia and reclaim her life, and every instinct she has is screaming at her to run. Her phone buzzes. A text from Sophia. How is the interview going? Elena stares at the message, thinks about Sophia at home, weak and fading, thinks about the medical bills that will never stop coming, thinks about the sound of her mother's last labored breaths. Then she thinks about the wooden finial, how she had repaired it asking for nothing in return, how Marcus Sterling had noticed, how his $1 tip was designed to provoke a reaction, how all of this feels like a test within a test within a test. She types back, complicated, we'll explain later. Then she stands and walks out of the conference room. Catherine Blake is nowhere to be seen. The receptionist does not look up as Elena passes. The elevator descends so smoothly it feels like falling. When she reaches the street, Elena takes a deep breath of cold air and pulls out her phone. She scrolls to Ben's number and calls. He answers on the second ring. Martinez, how are you feeling? Stomach bug better? Listen, Ben, I need to ask you something. The day after the Sterling dinner, did anyone come to the restaurant asking for me? There is a pause. How did you know about that? So someone did come. Elena's pulse quickens. Who was it? That guy. The one who was dining with Sterling. Cross, I think his name was. He came in during lunch service, looking for you. Seemed really agitated. Kept saying he needed to talk to you urgently. Ben's voice drops. Richard told him you had the day off and the guy looked furious. Martinez, what is going on? I'm not sure yet. Elena watches traffic flow past, trying to make sense of the pieces. What exactly did he say? He said he had an offer for you, that it was better than anything Sterling could ever give you, that you needed to hear him out before making any decisions. Ben sounds worried. He was really intense about it. Kind of scary, honestly. Should I have told you sooner? No, it is okay. Thanks, Ben. Elena ends the call and stands on the corner of Park Avenue, suspended between two impossible choices. On one hand, Catherine Blake and her anonymous benefactor, offering salvation with strings attached, medical care for Sophia, money for art, a life beyond survival. All she has to do is sign away her right to tell the truth. On the other hand, Vincent Cross, lurking in shadows, claiming he wants to help but radiating danger. Talking about bringing down Sterling, about revenge, about using Elena's story as a weapon. Neither option feels right. Both feel like surrender. Her phone rings. Unknown number again. She almost does not answer, but something makes her pick up. Ms. Martinez. It is Catherine Blake, and she sounds different, less controlled, more human. I apologize for how our meeting ended. Elena waits, saying nothing. You asked me a question that no one has asked me in 30 years. Whether Catherine pauses, and Elena can hear her breathing. Whether this life I have built is living or dying. I have been thinking about your answer, and I do not know. Catherine's voice is quiet now, almost vulnerable. I gave up painting when I was 25. I needed security, stability, success, and I got all of that. But I have not created anything beautiful in decades. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve honesty. Catherine takes a breath. My client is Marcus Sterling, the man from the restaurant. He is the one offering to help you. Elena's world tilts. She knew on some level, but hearing it confirmed is different. He read my letter. Yes, and it affected him deeply. He wants to help you, Ms. Martinez, but he also wants to remain anonymous because he does not trust himself. He has been wrong before, hurt people. He does not want to hurt you. But by hiding, by not facing me, he already is hurting me. Elena's voice is stronger now. He is making me an object of charity, not a person. I know Catherine sounds tired. I told him that. He said he does not deserve to be forgiven. That is not his choice. Forgiveness is mine to give or withhold. Elena feels something clicking into place in her mind. I want to meet him, face to face. I want to look him in the eye. I want to know why my family, why this test, why any of this matters to him. He will not agree to that. Then tell him this. Elena's voice is steel wrapped in velvet. I am not a project. I am not a way to ease his guilt. I am a person, and persons deserve to be seen. If he wants to help me, he can start by having the courage to face me. There is a long silence on the other end of the line. Then, I will tell him. Thank you. Elena pauses. And Ms. Blake? Yes? Thank you for being honest with me. That took courage too. The call ends. Elena stands on the corner as the city moves around her. And for the first time in days, she feels like she is not drowning. She has just set conditions, has just demanded respect, has just refused to be bought without being seen. Her phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. She opens it. It is from Vincent Cross. When you are ready to talk, I am here. I have information about your father, about what Sterling did to him, about why he owes you more than money. Call me. Elena stares at the message. Your father. What could Marcus Sterling possibly have to do with her father, dead 10 years now in a car accident? What information could Cross have? She thinks about forwarding the text to Catherine Blake, thinks about calling Cross immediately, thinks about going home and hiding under the covers with Sophia and pretending none of this is happening. Instead, she does something else entirely. She opens her email and starts typing. The message is addressed to Catherine Blake. The subject line is simple, my terms. She writes quickly, clearly, without hesitation. If Sterling wants to help, here are her conditions. 1. They meet face to face. 2. No NDA. She will not be bought into silence. 3. The medical trust for Sophia is separate from everything else. That is owed, not charity. 4. She needs time to think about the art grant before accepting. 5. She needs to know the whole truth about why he cares. She hits send before she can second-guess herself. Then she starts walking, not toward home, not toward the subway, just walking, letting her feet carry her through the streets of Manhattan, while her mind processes everything that has happened. She ends up at the public library, that massive, beautiful building that has always felt like sanctuary. She climbs the steps between the stone lions and enters the cool, quiet interior. Here, surrounded by books and knowledge, and the whisper of pages turning, she can think. Elena finds a computer terminal and starts searching. Marcus Sterling. She reads everything she can find. There is surprisingly little personal information. No social media. Few interviews. The articles about him focus on his company, Sterling Consolidated, and its impressive growth over 3 decades. Logistics, supply chain management, revolutionary algorithms that saved companies millions. Algorithms. Something about that word catches in her mind. Her father was an engineer, worked with computers, with optimization systems. Could there be a connection? She searches for Rafael Martinez engineer, gets thousands of results, none of them about her father. Tries Rafael Martinez Nexus systems, nothing. Rafael Martinez algorithm. And there, buried on the 3rd page of results, is an article from a tech industry newsletter dated 1992. Small acquisition announced. Sterling Logistics acquires Nexus Systems for $12 million. Key intellectual property includes revolutionary optimization algorithm developed by senior engineer Rafael Martinez. Elena reads the paragraph 3 times, stares at her father's name in print. Sterling acquired the company where her father worked. Took an algorithm her father developed. 1992. That was 2 years before Elena was born. The year her father came home and told her mother he had lost his job. The year everything changed for their family. She searches for more, finds a few other mentions. Rafael Martinez seeking new employment. Rafael Martinez consulting engineer. Then nothing. Her father disappeared from the professional record after that acquisition. Took small jobs, worked himself to exhaustion, died young. And Marcus Sterling built a $50 billion empire. Elena sits back from the computer, heart pounding. This is why. This is the connection. Sterling stole her father's work and now, consumed by guilt, he wants to make amends to the daughter. The $1 tip was not random cruelty. It was a test. He was looking for proof that Rafael Martinez's integrity had survived in his children. And she passed. Her letter proved it. But Vincent Cross knew this story too, which means Cross worked at Nexus Systems, which means he also knew her father, which means his offer to help comes from somewhere personal. Elena pulls out her phone and looks at Cross's text again. I have information about your father, about what Sterling did to him. She types a response. Tell me everything. Then she hesitates. This is the moment. Once she reaches out to Cross, she is playing a dangerous game, but she needs to know the truth. All of it. She hits send. The response is almost immediate. Not here. Too public. Call me. Elena goes outside, stands on the library steps between the lions, and dials Cross's number. He answers instantly. Ms. Martinez, I was hoping you would call. Tell me about my father. Rafael Martinez was a genius. Cross's voice is smooth, persuasive, one of the brightest engineers I ever met. He developed an algorithm for supply chain optimization that was years ahead of its time. Beautiful code, elegant, efficient, and Sterling took it. Sterling bought the company. The IP belonged to Nexus Systems, so legally it became his. But morally, Cross's voice hardens. He stole your father's life's work, built his entire empire on it, and Rafael got nothing, $45,000 severance package and a handshake. Elena closes her eyes. She can picture her father accepting that handshake. Too proud to fight, too principled to compromise, too naive about business to understand how thoroughly he had been betrayed. My father died working double shifts, driving home exhausted. Her voice is barely controlled. Because after Sterling bought his company, no one else would hire him. Exactly. Cross sounds triumphant, like she has confirmed something he already knew. Sterling poisoned the well, and now he is old and guilty and wants to buy absolution by giving his blood money to Raphael's daughters. What do you want from me, Mr. Cross? I want you to tell the truth. Go public with your father's story. Show the world what Marcus Sterling really is, a thief who built his fortune on stolen genius. Cross pauses. And I will pay you $10 million, more than Sterling is offering. and you get to keep your integrity. $10 million. Elena's head spins. How? I have been documenting Sterling's unethical practices for years. Your story is the human element I need. We go to the press, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. It would destroy him. Cross's voice drops to a purr. And I have positioned myself to profit substantially when his company's stock crashes. I am offering you a share. So you want to use my family's pain for your revenge. Elena's voice is cold. Just like Sterling used my father's genius for his profit. You are the same? No, we are giving you justice. Justice would be my father alive, my mother not worked to death, my sister healthy. Elena's hands are shaking. This is just different exploitation. Think about it. Cross is not deterred. I will send you proof. The original code, the acquisition documents, everything. You will see I'm telling the truth. The call ends. 30 seconds later, Elena's email pings, an encrypted message from an anonymous server. She opens it on her phone. Inside are scanned documents, pages of code, acquisition agreements, and in the margins of several pages, handwritten notes in her father's distinctive, careful script. She would recognize that handwriting anywhere. Has copies of his notebooks at home, kept as treasures. Her throat tightens. Here is proof. Her father's genius preserved in fading ink. His work that became Sterling's fortune, his legacy reduced to stolen code. She forwards everything to Catherine Blake with a new message. Your client owes me more than money. He owes me truth. I will meet with him only if he is prepared to explain all of this. Everything. Face to face, no lawyers, no intermediaries, just him and me and the whole ugly history. She hits send and then sits down on the library steps, suddenly exhausted. The stone is cold beneath her, but she does not move. People flow past her, living their normal lives, unaware that the woman sitting alone is caught between two billionaires playing games with her future. Her phone rings, not a text, an actual call. She looks at the screen, blocked number. She answers, yes. Ms. Martinez. A man's voice, low, gravelly, familiar. This is Marcus Sterling. Elena's breath catches. She was not expecting this, not him calling directly. You want to meet me. It is not a question. You want explanations. Yes, I will agree to your terms. All of them. But you need to understand something first. His voice carries weight, weariness. What I did to your father is unforgivable. I am not seeking absolution. I am seeking to prevent anyone else from being destroyed the way he was. Do you understand the difference? Maybe. Elena's voice is steady. But I need to hear it from you. Not through lawyers, not through intermediaries. You looked me in the eye once. You can do it again. There is a long pause. Then, my car will be at your address in 1 hour. Pack an overnight bag. We have much to discuss and it cannot be rushed. Wait, where are we going? My home. Upstate. You will be safe. You have my word. Sterling pauses. And Ms. Martinez? Thank you for not taking the easy path, for demanding more. Your father would be proud. The call disconnects before Elena can respond. She sits on the library steps, holding her phone, trying to process what just happened. In 1 hour, a car will come for her. Will take her to meet Marcus Sterling face to face. Will force the truth into light. She should be terrified. She is terrified. But beneath the fear is something else. Purpose. She is no longer a passive victim of circumstance. She is an actor in her own story, making choices, setting terms, demanding respect. Elena stands and starts walking home. She has an hour to pack, to tell Sophia where she is going, to prepare for whatever comes next. The city seems brighter somehow. The spring air smells of possibility. She does not know what tomorrow will bring, but for the first time in 3 years, she is not just surviving. She is living. And it is terrifying and exhilarating and real. Her phone buzzes. One more text. From Catherine Blake. I am coming with you. To the meeting. You should not face this alone. See you in an hour. Elena reads it twice. She barely knows this woman. They have met once, in a sterile conference room, on opposite sides of a transaction. And now Catherine Blake wants to stand beside her. Maybe, Elena thinks, maybe grace creates grace. Maybe her choice to be vulnerable, to demand truth, to refuse to hide, is creating space for others to do the same. She texts back a single word, thank you. Then she quickens her pace toward home, toward Sophia, toward whatever truth awaits. The seed she planted with that $1 letter has started to grow, and she cannot wait to see what it becomes. The hour passes in a blur of motion that feels like standing still. Elena throws clothes into an overnight bag without thinking about what she is packing. Sophia watches from the couch, concern etched in the lines around her eyes that should not be there on a 19-year-old face. "Where are you going?" Sophia's voice is weak, but her gaze is sharp. "You are scaring me, Lena." "I am meeting someone. About the medical bills. About everything." Elena sits beside her sister and takes her hands. They are cold. Too cold. And Elena rubs them gently, trying to transfer warmth. "I cannot explain everything right now, but I need you to trust me." "Does this have something to do with that lawyer who called?" Elena should have known Sophia would figure it out. Her sister misses nothing. Yes. And with the man from the restaurant, the $1 tip man, it turns out he knew Papa. Sophia's eyes widen. "What?" "I am going to find out the whole story." Elena kisses her sister's forehead. "I will call you tonight. If anything happens, if you need anything, Maria knows where I will be." "Nothing is going to happen." Sophia tries to sound confident, but Elena can hear the fear underneath. "You are coming back, right?" "I am coming back." Elena holds her sister close, breathing in the smell of her shampoo, feeling the bird-fragile bones beneath her embrace. "I promise." When the car arrives, Elena expects the same silent driver from before. Instead, she looks out the window and sees Catherine Blake sitting behind the wheel of a silver sedan. Not a town car, not a limousine, just a normal expensive car, with a woman in jeans and a sweater who looks nothing like the Ice Queen lawyer from yesterday. Elena goes downstairs and approaches cautiously. Catherine rolls down the window. "I thought we could talk. Woman to woman, not lawyer to client." Catherine's voice is different without the professional armor. Softer, more uncertain. "Get in." Elena gets in. The car smells like leather and coffee and something floral, perfume, or air freshener. Catherine pulls into traffic with confident ease, and for several minutes they drive in silence through the streets of Brooklyn. The city is beginning its evening transformation, work commuters giving way to dinner crowds, the light turning golden as the sun dips toward the horizon. Finally, Catherine speaks. "I looked you up last night, after you left." She glances at Elena. "Your mother, Rosa Martinez. She was a nurse at Mount Sinai for 15 years. "Yes," Elena's voice is guarded. "How do you know that?" "Public records. Obituaries." Catherine's hands are steady on the wheel, but her voice wavers slightly. "She died 8 years ago. Lupus. The same disease your sister has." Elena says nothing. The familiar grief sits heavy in her chest like a stone she has learned to carry, but never learned to set down. "I lost someone too." Catherine merges onto the highway heading north. "My daughter. Not to death, but to adoption. I was 19, no money, no support. I thought I was doing the right thing." Elena turns to look at her. Catherine's profile is stark against the window, jaw tight, eyes fixed on the road ahead. "I spent 30 years building security," Catherine continues, "making sure I would never be that helpless again. Became a lawyer, made partner at 35, built this perfect controlled life. And you know what I realized yesterday after you left?" "What?" "I gave up everything that made me human to feel safe." Catherine's voice breaks slightly. "I used to paint. Did you know that?" "Watercolors. I was good. Not great, but good enough. I was choosing between Rhode Island School of Design and Yale Law School when I got pregnant." "You chose law." "I chose survival." Catherine signals to change lanes, and Elena can see her hands trembling on the wheel. "And I have been surviving for 30 years. Not living, just surviving in an expensive apartment with expensive things and no one to share them with." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you asked me a question yesterday that no one has asked me in 3 decades. You asked if this is what living looks like." Catherine glances at Elena. "And I have been thinking about that question all night. The answer is no. This is not living. This is hiding." They drive in silence for several miles. The city gives way to suburbs, then to wooded areas. The highway curves along the Hudson River, and Elena watches the water catch the evening light, turning it into liquid gold. "I sent a letter last night." Catherine's voice is quiet now. "To the adoption agency. asking if they could forward a message to my daughter. Elena feels something shift in her chest. That took courage. It took your courage. Catherine looks at her. You walked into my office and demanded to be seen as a person, not a transaction. You refused to hide. You made me realize I have been hiding my whole life. The GPS announces their exit. Catherine takes the ramp and they wind through increasingly rural roads until they turn onto a private drive. A gate stands open, unmanned. They pass through and the drive continues for almost a mile through dense forest before the house appears. It is not what Elena expected. She had imagined something ostentatious, a monument to wealth and ego. Instead, the house is modern and understated, all glass and steel and clean lines. It seems to float above the forest, cantilevered out over a cliff face. Below, the Hudson River moves like a silver serpent through the darkening landscape. Catherine parks and they sit for a moment, neither moving. Elena can see lights on inside the house, can see a figure standing on the terrace, waiting. Are you ready? Catherine's question is gentle. No. Elena's honesty surprises her. But I am going anyway. They get out of the car. The evening air is cool and carries the scent of pine and river water. Elena's legs feel unsteady as they walk toward the house. Every step takes her further from the life she knows and closer to truths she is not sure she wants to hear. The front door opens before they reach it. Marcus Sterling stands in the doorway and Elena barely recognizes him. He is not wearing a suit, just dark pants and a simple sweater. His white hair is uncombed. He looks older than he did in the restaurant, more tired, more human. The titan of industry has been replaced by an old man carrying ghosts. Ms. Martinez. His voice is the same, that low, gravelly baritone. Thank you for coming, Catherine. He nods to the lawyer. Thank you for bringing her safely. They enter the house and Elena's artist eye immediately catalogs details. The space is open and minimalist, but cold. Beautiful furniture that looks rarely used. Expensive art on the walls, but no photographs, no personal touches, no warmth. This is not a home. It is a mausoleum. Sterling leads them through to a terrace that juts out over the cliff. The view is breathtaking, the river spread out below, the far shore already deep in shadow, while the near side still glows with dying light. A table has been set with water and glasses. 3 chairs arranged in a triangle so no one sits at the head. Please, sit. Sterling gestures and waits until both women are seated before taking his own chair. His movements are careful, the movements of someone in pain trying not to show it. For a long moment, no one speaks. Elena looks at this man who left her a $1 tip, who investigated her family, who knew her father, who is offering to change her life. She tries to see past the wealth and power to the person underneath. What she sees is exhaustion and regret, and something that might be hope. Before we talk about your father, Sterling's hands are folded on the table, and Elena notices they are shaking slightly. I need to tell you about my wife, because you cannot understand one without the other. Elena nods, waiting. Margaret died 10 years ago. Breast cancer. Sterling's voice is steady, but his eyes are distant, looking at something only he can see. She was my conscience, my heart, the person who kept me human when ambition tried to make me something else. He gestures at the house around them. She filled this place with color, with music, with life. After she died, I could not bear to keep it that way. Too painful, so I stripped it all away, made it empty like I felt. He looks at Elena and his dark eyes are wet. Your letter. The way you talked about grace, about choosing kindness even when hurt. That was Margaret. Word for word. The things she used to say to me when I was being ruthless in business, when I was valuing profit over people. That was my mother. Elena's voice is barely above a whisper. Those were her words. Sterling nods slowly. Women like them, they see the world as it should be, not as it is. And they make us ashamed of settling for less. Margaret's last words to me. He closes his eyes as if the memory is painful to look at. She said, Do not forget how to be good, Marcus. Promise me. I promised. But you forgot anyway. Yes. Sterling opens his eyes. I forgot. And I spent the next 10 years becoming exactly the kind of man she had always tried to prevent me from being. Catherine speaks for the first time. Tell her about Rafael. Sterling takes a long breath, steeling himself. Elena can see this is not easy for him. that whatever he is about to say has been weighing on him for years. Your father, Rafael Martinez, worked at a company called Nexus Systems. It was 1992. I was 35 years old, ambitious, hungry. I had a small logistics firm that was profitable but limited. I needed something revolutionary to break into the major markets. Rafael had developed an algorithm. Sterling's voice takes on a tone of respect. An optimization system for supply chain management that was years ahead of its time. Elegant, efficient, beautiful in the way that great code can be beautiful. It could save companies millions. And you wanted it. I acquired Nexus Systems for $12 million. Legally, the intellectual property belonged to the company. So when I bought the company, I got the algorithm. Sterling looks directly at Elena. I paid a fair market price. I followed all the laws. But morally, I stole your father's life work. Did you offer him a job? Elena keeps her voice level, not letting him see how much this is affecting her. Yes, Vice President of Engineering, $200,000 a year, stock options. He turned me down. Elena feels something break open in her chest. Of course he did. Her father was nothing if not principled, he said. Sterling's voice is quiet. He said, Mr. Sterling, I appreciate the offer, but I have 2 young daughters at home, and I need to be able to look them in the eye and tell them their father does good work in the world. I cannot do that working for a man who only sees people as assets. Elena's vision blurs with tears. That sounds exactly like something her father would say. He was right. Sterling's voice is raw. I did only see people as assets. Margaret tried to tell me, Rafael tried, but I was too ambitious to listen. I bought the company, took his algorithm, built an empire worth $50 billion, and Rafael Martinez took his $45,000 severance package and tried to rebuild his life. But he could not. Elena's voice is hard. Because once you took his work, no one else would hire him. Your reputation poisoned every well. I did not actively blacklist him. Sterling looks pained. But you are right. My acquisition sent a message to the industry that Rafael's greatest achievement belonged to me now. Other companies did not want to hire someone I had deemed disposable. So he worked small jobs, consulting, freelance. Elena can feel the anger building in her chest, hot and sharp. He worked double shifts, triple shifts, trying to provide for his family. My mother Rosa, she was a nurse. She worked herself to exhaustion trying to make up the financial gap you created. Sterling nods, accepting every word like blows. And then she got sick. Elena's voice breaks. Systemic lupus, the same disease that is killing Sophia now, but we could not afford the best treatments, could not afford the experimental therapies, could not afford anything beyond the absolute minimum that insurance would cover. Ms. Martinez. Sterling's voice is gentle. I know, I have known for years. How? Elena demands. How could you possibly know? Margaret's oncologist was Dr. Sarah Patel. Sterling's face is etched with old grief. When Margaret was sick, I spent weeks in that hospital. One day, Dr. Patel mentioned she had lost a patient to lupus. A single mother, nurse, left 2 daughters. Rosa Martinez. Elena feels the room tilt. You knew my mother? I knew of her. After she died, I started following your family. Quietly. From a distance. Sterling's voice is heavy with shame. I learned about Sophia's diagnosis, about your scholarship to Pratt, about you dropping out to take care of her. I watched you sacrifice everything just like your parents sacrificed everything. Because I stole the choice from them. So you have been stalking us for 8 years. Elena's voice is cold. Watching us struggle. Watching Sophia get sicker. Watching me work myself to death. And you did nothing. I did not know how to help without causing more harm. Sterling looks at Catherine. I have a history of destroying people I try to help. I did not want to destroy you too. Catherine speaks quietly. He has been looking for a way to make amends. For years. He just did not trust himself to do it right. Elena laughs, but there is no humor in it. So instead, he created tests. Made me prove I was worthy of his guilt money. Sterling does not flinch. Yes, that is exactly what I did. And it was cruel, and I am sorry. Tell her about the tests. Catherine's voice is firm. Tell her everything. Sterling nods. The finial was the first test. My friend Dominic Russo owns the Silver Dove. I asked him to watch you, to tell me about you. He mentioned you had repaired the broken carving without being asked, without expecting payment or recognition, just because something was broken and needed to be made whole. That was your first test? Elena's voice rises. Whether I would fix something for free? No. Whether you would claim credit? Whether you would be boastful? Sterling meets her eyes. You were modest, professional. You simply said you had done it and moved on. That told me something about your character. The second test was Vincent Cross. I brought him to dinner specifically to test your composure under stress. Sterling's face hardens at the mention of Cross. He is a boorish, arrogant man. I wanted to see if you could endure rudeness with grace. And I did. So you rewarded me with the cruelest test of all. Elena's hands are fists on the table. The $1 tip. Yes, Sterling's voice is barely audible. I designed it to be brutal, to strip away any facade, to provoke a raw emotional response and reveal your true character. Elena stands abruptly. The chair scrapes against stone. You wanted to see me break. You wanted to watch me crumble so you could feel better about yourself. No. Sterling remains seated, but his voice is stronger now. I wanted to see if Rafael's values survived in you. I expected anger, tears, a complaint, a lawsuit. I have tested others this way over the years. 17 people connected to people I wronged. All of them failed. Failed, Elena spits the word. You created a test designed to humiliate people and then judge them for having normal human reactions. Yes, Sterling's admission is simple, undefended. I was looking for someone who would respond with grace. Not because I deserved grace, but because I needed to know if that kind of character still existed in a world I had helped make more cruel. And if I had failed, if I had screamed at you or cursed you or fallen apart, I would have helped you anyway. Sterling stands now, moving slowly. The medical trust for Sophia, the financial support, none of that was contingent on you passing. But I would have given it anonymously through foundations and organizations. I would have hidden. But I did not fail. Elena's voice is shaking. I took your insult and I turned it into kindness. I bought coffee for someone who needed it. I wrote you a letter about grace and value and what it means to be human. I did everything right. You did more than that. Sterling's voice is filled with something that sounds like wonder. You taught me. You reminded me that grace is not weakness, that character matters, that there are still people in this world who choose light over darkness, even when darkness would be justified. Elena feels tears streaming down her face, but she does not wipe them away. You want to know what you took from me? From my family? You want the full accounting? Yes, Sterling's face is steady. I want to know. You did not just take my father's algorithm. Elena's voice is rising, years of suppressed rage finally breaking free. You took his pride, his ability to provide for his family doing work he loved. You took his dignity. My mother worked herself to death as a nurse because my father's consulting jobs did not pay enough. She got sick from stress, from exhaustion, from worry. And by the time we realized how serious the lupus was, we had no savings for proper treatment. Elena is shouting now and she does not care. She died because we could not afford the experimental therapy that might have saved her. Do you understand? My mother would be alive if you had done the right thing 30 years ago. Sterling's face crumbles, but Elena is not finished. And now Sophia has the same disease. And I dropped out of school to take care of her because I could not let her die the same way Mama did. I gave up my dreams, my future, my entire life, because you stole the security that might have saved us. She advances on him, and Sterling does not move, does not defend himself, just stands there taking the full force of her grief and rage. You did not just steal from my father, Mr. Sterling. You stole from all of us, our safety, our future, our mother. And now you stand here offering me money like that can fix it. Like your guilt is something I can absolve? No. Sterling's voice is quiet but firm. I do not want absolution. That is not what this is. Then what is it? Elena is crying openly now. What am I to you? A project? A way to ease your conscience? A test subject? Catherine appears at Elena's side. Come with me. Her voice is gentle. You need a moment. I do not need anything from either of you. Elena tries to pull away, but Catherine's grip is firm. Yes, you do. You need to grieve. Catherine's voice is soft, but unyielding. Not perform, not be strong, just grieve. She leads Elena away from the terrace, through the house to a bathroom Elena collapses against the sink, her whole body shaking with sobs that have been building for 8 years. Catherine stands beside her, one hand on her back, saying nothing, just being present. The grief comes in waves. Elena cries for her father who died too young, working too hard, believing he had failed his family. She cries for her mother who sacrificed everything, whose last breath was an apology for leaving her daughters alone. She cries for Sophia, who is 19 and dying and did nothing to deserve this. She cries for herself, for the artist she was supposed to be, for the dreams she buried, for the life she lost. And Catherine stands witness, does not try to stop her, does not offer empty comfort, just holds space for the pain to exist. Finally, when the storm passes, Elena looks at herself in the mirror. Her face is blotchy and swollen. Her eyes are red. She looks destroyed. "Better?" Catherine asks. "No." Elena's voice is hoarse, but more honest. "Good." Catherine meets her eyes in the mirror. Grace does not mean not feeling anger. It means feeling it and not letting it poison you. That sounds like something my mother would say. She sounds like she was a remarkable woman. Catherine hands Elena a tissue. "Are you ready to go back?" I do not know if I can look at him. "You do not have to decide anything tonight." Catherine's voice is matter-of-fact. "You can listen, you can think, you can leave. Whatever you need." They return to the terrace. Sterling is still standing where they left him, looking out at the river. The light is almost gone now, just a strip of gold on the far horizon. He turns when he hears them approach. "I am sorry." His voice is rough. "For all of it. For what I took from your family, for the tests, for everything." Elena sits back down, exhausted. Sorry does not bring them back. No, nothing brings them back. Sterling sits as well. But maybe I can ensure that no other family suffers the same way. Maybe I can make their names mean something. He pulls out a folder that was on the table. Inside are documents, designs, pages covered in code and diagrams. Elena recognizes her father's handwriting in the margins. "These are the original documents from the Nexus acquisition." Sterling's voice is reverent. "Your father's notes, his designs, his genius preserved. I have kept them all these years." Elena reaches out with shaking hands and touches the pages. Her father's writing, his careful, precise letters, his brilliant mind captured in ink. She traces one notation with her finger and feels the tears start again. There is more. Sterling stands, "Something I want to show you." He leads them from the terrace through the house to a set of tall double doors. His hand rests on the handle, but he does not open it immediately. "After Margaret died, I could not create anything, could not feel anything. I just worked and slept and worked again." Sterling's voice is heavy. "Then I read your letter, your words about investing the dollar in kindness, about true value, and something in me woke up." He opens the doors. The room beyond is enormous and filled with light even in the gathering darkness. Floor-to-ceiling windows look out over the river. The space is set up as an artist's studio. Blocks of marble, sculpting tools still wrapped in protective plastic, work tables, a kiln, welding equipment, everything an artist could need. But that is not what makes Elena's breath catch. The walls are covered with images, photographs of her work from Pratt, printed and mounted. Her mother's nurse badge, framed and lit like a precious artifact. Her father's original algorithm sketches, preserved behind archival glass. Drawings that Sophia made during her hospital stays. Colorful and hopeful and heartbreaking. This is not just money, this is remembrance, this is honor. Sterling's voice comes from behind her. "I did not want to just give you resources. I wanted to create a space that honors your whole family. Your father's genius, your mother's service, Sophia's courage, and your art." Elena walks into the room slowly, touching the tools, looking at the photographs, trying to process what this means. "This is not a handout, Ms. Martinez." Sterling follows her into the space. "This is restitution. I stole your father's ability to create. In doing so, I stole yours. I am giving it back." He moves to stand beside her, both of them looking out at the darkening river. The trust for Sophia is already established, irrevocable. She is covered for life. That is owed. It has nothing to do with you accepting the studio or anything else. Elena turns to look at him. "You have thought of everything." "I have had years to think." Sterling's smile is sad. "And I have excellent lawyers." Catherine clears her throat from the doorway. There is more. Tell her about the foundation. Sterling nods. The Rafael and Rosa Martinez Foundation for Emerging Artists. Initial endowment $500 million. Its mission is to support artists who have faced hardship, artists from working class backgrounds, artists who show exceptional promise but lack resources. He looks at Elena. You will be its first grant recipient. And when you are ready, you will have a permanent seat on its board. You will be the one who finds and supports the next generation. You will carry your parents' values forward. This is too much. Elena's voice is barely a whisper. This is too late. Sterling finishes. I know. It is decades too late. It does not undo anything. But maybe it prevents the next tragedy. Maybe it means your father's name becomes synonymous with supporting genius instead of having genius stolen. Elena walks to where her mother's badge hangs on the wall. Rosa Martinez, RN. She touches the glass gently. You know what the worst part is? Elena does not look at Sterling. I want to hate you. I want to refuse everything. Walk out of here with my pride intact and my rage justified. But you cannot. Sterling's voice is understanding, not triumphant. Because Sophia needs the medical care. Because I am so tired of struggling. Because this studio is everything I have dreamed of for 3 years. Elena turns to face him. Because some part of me believes you are actually trying to make this right. I am. Sterling meets her eyes. Not for me, not to feel better, but because it is the right thing to do. Finally. Elena looks at Catherine, who has been silent through all of this. What do you think? Catherine steps into the room. I think you need time. Time to grieve. Time to think. Time to decide if you can accept help from the man who caused so much harm. She pauses. But I also think your mother was right. Do not let bitterness steal more from you than his greed already did. Elena walks to one of the work tables and runs her hand over the smooth surface. She picks up a chisel, tests the weight of it in her hand. It feels like coming home. I am not ready to forgive you. Her voice is steady. Maybe I never will be. Can you accept that? Yes. Sterling does not hesitate. I do not deserve forgiveness. I am offering restitution, not seeking absolution. And if I take this? Elena gestures at the studio. If I take the foundation seat, what are you expecting in return? Nothing. Sterling's voice is firm. No NDA, no control over your story, no conditions except that you use these resources to create and to help others create. That is all. Elena sets down the chisel. I need time. I need to talk to Sophia. I need to think about what accepting this means. Of course, Catherine speaks up. Stay here tonight. There is a guest room. Sleep on it. You can decide in the morning. Sterling nods. Whatever you decide, the medical trust stands. Sophia is covered. That is not negotiable. Elena feels the weight of 3 years lifting slightly from her shoulders. The constant terror that Sophia will die because Elena cannot save her. That fear has lived in her chest like a tumor, and now someone is offering to remove it. Thank you. The words feel inadequate, but they are all she has. For Sophia, thank you. It is owed. Sterling's voice is quiet. And I am sorry it took me so long to pay what I owe. He shows her to a guest room that is simple and comfortable, tells her there is food in the kitchen if she is hungry, leaves her alone. Elena sits on the bed and pulls out her phone, calls Sophia. Her sister answers on the first ring. Lena, are you okay? You said you would call hours ago. I am okay. More than okay. Elena does not know how to explain everything that has happened. Sophia, I found out about Papa, about what happened to him, about why we struggled. She tells the story. All of it. Sterling's theft, the tests, the offer, the studio, the foundation. Sophia listens without interrupting. And when Elena finishes, there is a long silence. Finally, Sophia speaks. What are you going to do? I do not know. Elena lies back on the bed, suddenly exhausted. He hurt our family so deeply. Mama might still be alive if he had done the right thing 30 years ago. But she is not alive. Sophia's voice is gentle but firm. And me being angry at him will not bring her back. Me refusing his help will not honor her memory. What would she want me to do? She would want you to live, Lena. Sophia sounds older than 19. She would want you to create. She would want you to help other people the way you have helped me. She would not want you to drown in bitterness. Elena feels tears sliding into her hair. When did you get so wise? I had a good teacher. Sophia pauses. Take the help, Lena, not for him, for you. You have earned the right to stop surviving and start living. They talk for a few more minutes and then say goodnight. Elena lies in the darkness of the guest room, listening to the sounds of the house settling around her. In the distance, she can hear the river moving through the night. She thinks about her father, working double shifts, dying exhausted. She thinks about her mother, fighting lupus while trying to hold her family together. She thinks about Sophia, 19 and sick and still somehow the strongest person Elena knows. And she thinks about the studio, the marble waiting to be carved, the tools waiting to be used, the space waiting to be filled with creation. Elena has spent 3 years in survival mode, 3 years with her dreams on hold, 3 years of perfect smiles and aching feet and bills that never stop coming. 3 years of watching her sister fade and being powerless to stop it. Sterling's offer is not redemption for him, but it might be restoration for her. She falls asleep still uncertain, but for the first time in years, feeling like the future might hold something other than more of the same endless grinding survival. In the morning, she will decide. But tonight, she lets herself rest. The house is quiet. The river flows. The world continues its turning. And in a guest room in a billionaire's mansion, a waitress who used to be an artist sleeps deeply, dreaming of hands reaching toward each other across vast distances, almost touching, the space between them filled with possibility. Morning comes with light that turns the Hudson River into liquid silver. Elena wakes disoriented, momentarily unable to place where she is. The bed is too soft, the room too quiet. Then memory floods back, and with it, the weight of the decision she must make. She lies still for a moment, listening to the house wake around her. The distant sound of water running, the soft hum of heating systems, the kind of sounds that exist in houses where everything works perfectly, where maintenance is invisible, where money solves problems before they become noticeable. Her phone shows 6 missed calls from Maria, 3 texts asking if she is okay. Elena types a quick response. I am fine. We'll explain everything soon. Then she gets up and faces the day. The guest bathroom has everything she might need. Fresh towels, unopened toiletries, a robe that is exactly her size hanging on the back of the door. The level of preparation is almost unsettling. How long has Sterling been planning for this moment? She showers and dresses in yesterday's clothes, then follows the smell of coffee through the house. The kitchen is enormous and filled with morning light. Catherine sits at the counter with a mug, looking more relaxed than Elena has ever seen her. She wears the same jeans and sweater from yesterday, and her hair is down around her shoulders. Without her lawyer armor, she looks younger, softer, more human. Coffee? Catherine gestures to a pot that looks like it could caffeinate an army. Sterling is on the terrace. He has been up for hours. Elena pours herself a cup and walks outside. Sterling stands at the edge of the terrace, hands behind his back, looking out at the river. He wears the same clothes as last night, and Elena wonders if he slept at all. When he hears her approach, he turns. Good morning. His voice is gravelly with exhaustion. Did you sleep? Eventually. Elena joins him at the railing. The view is even more spectacular in daylight. The river stretches north and south, a ribbon of water cutting through forested hills. A single boat moves upstream, leaving a white wake that catches the sun. It is beautiful and impersonal, the kind of view that reminds you how small your problems are in the grand scheme of things. They stand in silence for several minutes. Elena sips her coffee and tries to organize the tornado of thoughts in her head. Finally, she speaks. I have been thinking about your offer. All night, really. She does not look at him, keeps her eyes on the river. And I have decided that if I am going to accept, it cannot be on your terms alone. It has to be on mine as well. Sterling turns to face her. I am listening. First. Elena sets down her coffee cup with careful precision. The foundation does not just support artists. It finds every person you wronged in building your empire, every Rafael Martinez. And it makes restitution. Full restitution, all of them. Sterling is quiet for a moment. That could be hundreds of people. Can you afford it? Elena's question is direct, no apology in her voice. Yes, I can afford it. Then that is my first condition. This is not about saving your reputation. This is about actually fixing what you broke. Elena finally looks at him. Justice delayed is still justice, even if it comes 30 years late. Sterling nods slowly. Agreed. What else? Second, Elena takes a breath. Vincent Cross, you will offer him a position in the foundation. not out of charity, out of acknowledgement that he was hurt by your methods too. Give him a chance to build instead of destroy. Cross tried to manipulate you. Sterling's voice is hard. He wanted to use your family's pain for his revenge. Yes, and you used my family's pain for your profit. Elena holds his gaze. The difference is one of scale, not principle. If you can seek redemption, so can he. That is what real grace looks like. Not just forgiving the people who are easy to forgive. Sterling looks away, jaw tight. This man does not like being compared to Cross, does not like the mirror Elena is holding up, but after a long moment, he nods. Third, Elena continues, the foundation building. When you build a headquarters, it will be named after my mother, the Rosa Martinez Center. Not Rafael and Rosa, just Rosa, because history remembers men and forgets women. I will not let her be forgotten. Your mother would be honored. Sterling's voice is gentler now. Fourth, Elena's voice hardens. No NDA, no confidentiality agreements, no silencing. I will tell Sophia the truth. I will tell the foundation board. I will tell anyone who asks where this money came from and why. Transparency is not negotiable. That will damage my reputation. Sterling does not sound like he is objecting, just stating a fact. Good. Elena picks up her coffee again. You should be uncomfortable. Discomfort is the price of redemption. If you wanted comfort, you should have done the right thing 30 years ago. Anything else? There is something in Sterling's voice that might be respect. Yes. One more thing. Elena turns to fully face him. You said this foundation will have a board. I want Catherine on it, and I want Sophia when she is well enough. And I want Maria Santos, the head waitress from the Silver Dove. I want women who understand what it means to survive, not just wealthy philanthropists who write checks and feel good about themselves. You want working-class people making decisions about how to spend $500 million. Sterling's expression is unreadable. I want people who know what poverty actually feels like making decisions about how to fight it. Elena does not back down. Rich people are very good at talking about helping the poor. They are less good at actually doing it in ways that matter. Sterling is silent for a long moment. Then he extends his hand. Deal. All of it. Every condition. Elena looks at his outstretched hand. This is the moment. Once she shakes, everything changes. Sophia will be safe. Elena will have resources to create. The foundation will exist. But she will also be forever bound to Marcus Sterling and his complicated legacy. She thinks about her father, about the handshake he refused, about principles over pragmatism, about looking his daughters in the eye. Then she thinks about her mother, about grace under pressure, about choosing to build rather than destroy, about creating beauty from broken ground. Elena shakes his hand. His grip is firm and dry, and she can feel the slight tremor in his fingers. An old man's hands. Mortal. Fallible. Human. We have work to do. Elena releases his hand. When can we start? Immediately. Catherine appears in the doorway with a tablet. But there is something you both need to see first. Her face is grim. She turns the tablet around. On the screen is a news website. The headline is in large, bold letters. Billionaires' empire built on stolen genius. Below it, a photograph of Sterling. And next to it, a photograph of Elena's father that she has never seen before. Rafael at his desk, younger than she remembers him, smiling at something off camera. Elena's stomach drops. Vincent Cross. Catherine scrolls down. The article is detailed and damning. It names Nexus Systems, describes the algorithm theft, includes quotes from anonymous sources about Sterling's business practices, and at the center of it all, the Martinez family story. Rosa's death, Sophia's illness, Elena dropping out of school. He went to the press. Sterling's voice is flat. I should have expected this. There is more. Catherine swipes to another news site. Same story, different publication, then another, and another. Cross has given this story to everyone. Wall Street Journal, New York Times, CNBC, Bloomberg. It is everywhere. She shows them the stock ticker. Sterling Consolidated is down 18% in pre-market trading. The board is calling an emergency meeting. Catherine's finger hovers over the screen. 3 senators have announced investigations. The SEC is reviewing all acquisitions from the 90s. She looks at Sterling. This is bad, Marcus. How bad? Elena asks. Career ending. Sterling says it calmly, like he is discussing the weather. Possibly criminal charges for fraud, depending on what they find. Certainly civil lawsuits. The company could be forced into settlements that would bankrupt it. Elena should feel triumphant. This is justice, is it not? Sterling finally facing consequences. His empire crumbling. Everything he stole being taken back. But looking at his tired face, at the resignation in his eyes, she feels no satisfaction. Just a hollow sadness. What do we do? Her voice is quiet. We tell the truth. Sterling straightens his shoulders, and Elena sees a glimpse of the titan he once was. Our truth. Before Cross's lies become the only story people believe. What lies? Elena is confused. Everything in these articles is true. The facts are true. Sterling's voice is measured. But the story is wrong. Cross is painting you as either my victim or my accomplice, depending on which outlet you read. He is using your family's tragedy as a weapon. We cannot let him control the narrative. So we what? Hold our own press conference? Elena cannot believe what she's suggesting. Yes. Sterling looks at Catherine. Can you arrange it? For this afternoon. Catherine is already typing. 4 o'clock. That gives us time to prepare. Elena, are you willing to speak publicly? Elena thinks about her mother, about dignity, about truth, about not letting others define your story. I am willing. But I will not lie, I will not defend you. I will tell the whole truth exactly as it happened. I would expect nothing less. Sterling's voice is firm. This is not about defending me. This is about honoring your family. Making sure the world knows who Rafael and Rosa Martinez were. Not just casualties in my rise to power, but people with names and dignity and worth. The next 4 hours are a controlled chaos. Catherine makes calls, sends emails, coordinates with Sterling's communications team. A conference room is set up at Sterling Consolidated headquarters. Press credentials are issued. The board is notified. Lawyers prepare statements. Elena calls Sophia. Her sister answers immediately. Lena, I saw the news. What is happening? Vincent Cross happened. Elena keeps her voice calm. He went public with Papa's story. With all of it. Is that bad? Sophia sounds worried. I do not know yet. Elena looks out at the river one more time before they leave. But Sterling and I are going to set the record straight. Together. Publicly. You are going on TV? Sophia's voice rises. Lena, you hate being the center of attention. I know, but someone needs to tell Papa's story the right way. Someone who actually loved him. Elena pauses. Sophia, I need you to know something. I am accepting Sterling's offer. The medical trust, the foundation, all of it. Lena, not for him, for us, for Mama and Papa. So their names mean something. Elena feels tears threatening but pushes them back. Will you forgive me if this is the wrong choice? There is nothing to forgive. Sophia's voice is strong despite her illness. You are choosing to live. That is never wrong. Now go tell the world who our father really was. The drive back to Manhattan takes an hour. Elena sits in the back of Sterling's car while he and Catherine make calls and review statements. The city grows larger on the horizon. That familiar skyline that has been her prison and her home for 3 years. Sterling Consolidated headquarters is a gleaming tower of glass and steel. They enter through an underground garage to avoid the press already gathering out front. Elevators take them to the executive floor where everything is hushed and expensive and designed to intimidate. A conference room has been set up with a long table, microphones, and what looks like 100 folding chairs for reporters. Camera crews are already positioning equipment. The energy in the room is predatory. These people smell blood, and they are here for the kill. Catherine pulls Elena aside. You do not have to do this. We can release a written statement. You can stay anonymous. No. Elena's voice is firm. If I hide now, Cross wins. He gets to make my family's story into whatever narrative serves him. I will not let that happen. Then let me give you some advice. Catherine's expression is serious. These reporters will try to make you the victim. Poor waitress manipulated by evil billionaire. Do not accept that frame. You are not a victim. You are a woman who made choices. Own them. They are called to the stage. Sterling goes first. Elena beside him. Catherine takes a seat directly in front. A show of solidarity. The cameras flash like lightning. The reporters are already shouting questions before anyone has said a word. Sterling raises a hand and the room gradually quiets. When he speaks, his voice carries the weight of decades in boardrooms and negotiations. But there is something else too, a weariness, an honesty. Good afternoon. I am here to address the allegations made this morning by Vincent Cross. I want to state for the record that his core accusation is true. The room erupts. Sterling waits for silence. In 1992, I acquired Nexus Systems for $12 million. In doing so, I obtained the intellectual property rights to an algorithm developed by Rafael Martinez. That algorithm became the foundation of Sterling Consolidated. Rafael Martinez received nothing beyond his severance package. I built a $50 billion empire on his genius, and he died at age 50 working double shifts to support his family. Sterling pauses. Lets the word sink in. This was legal. It was also morally wrong. It was one of many decisions I made in my rise to power that prioritized profit over people. And it is a decision I have regretted for 30 years. More shouting, more questions. Sterling ignores them. I cannot undo the past, but I can and will do better going forward. Today, I am announcing the establishment of the Rafael and Rosa Martinez Foundation with an initial endowment of $500 million. Its mission is twofold. He holds up a document. First, to support emerging artists who face financial hardship. Second, to identify and provide restitution to individuals and companies harmed by my business practices over the past 3 decades. The room goes silent. This is unprecedented. Billionaires do not admit wrongdoing. They settle quietly, hide behind lawyers, protect their reputations at all costs. This list contains 247 names. Sterling's voice is steady. Each will be contacted and offered fair compensation for their losses. This is not charity. This is justice delayed but finally delivered. He steps aside. Elena Martinez, Rafael's daughter, will speak now. Elena stands and approaches the microphone. Her heart is hammering, but her voice comes out clear and strong. My name is Elena Martinez. My father was Rafael Martinez. My mother was Rosa Martinez, and I want you to remember their names. The cameras focus on her. She can feel millions of eyes that will watch this later, judging, analyzing, deciding what they think about her story. She does not care. She is not performing for them. She is speaking for her parents. My father was not just an algorithm. He was a man who loved his daughters, who read us stories at bedtime, who taught us that your value comes from what you create, not what others think of you. She can feel her voice strengthening with each word. My mother was not just a nurse who died. She was a woman who healed people, who worked double shifts to keep food on our table, who taught us that grace is not weakness, but the hardest strength there is. Elena looks directly at the cameras. These were real people, not statistics, not footnotes in Marcus Sterling's biography. People with hopes and dreams and dignity. And yes, they were destroyed by his greed. That is true. She pauses, lets that truth hang in the air. But here is what else is true. I am not here for revenge. My mother's last words were, "Do not let bitterness poison you," so I will not. I am accepting Mr. Sterling's restitution. Not because I forgive him, I am still deciding how I feel about that. But because rejecting help out of pride would make me just like him 30 years ago. Choosing principle over the well-being of the people I love. The reporters are silent now, listening. My sister Sophia has the same disease that killed our mother, systemic lupus. Without Mr. Sterling's medical trust, she might die. Tell me, what is the morally superior choice? Let her die to prove I am uncorrupted by blood money, or accept help so she can live? A reporter stands. Ms. Martinez, are you saying you are being bought? No! Elena's voice is sharp. I am saying I am choosing my sister's life over performative righteousness. I am saying that real moral courage sometimes means accepting help from people who wronged you. I am saying grace is complicated. She looks out at the sea of faces. Mr. Sterling's money will not bring my parents back, will not give me the years I lost, will not undo my sister's illness, but it will ensure that other artists, other Rafael Martinez's, get support instead of exploitation, that other families do not lose mothers to preventable deaths. That is not redemption for him. That is justice for us. Another reporter calls out, "What about the $1 tip? Was that part of some scheme?" Elena almost laughs. The $1 tip was him testing whether I was worthy of his guilt money. It was cruel and manipulative. And you know what I did? I bought coffee for a homeless woman. I wrote him a letter about grace. I chose to be the person my mother raised me to be, instead of the person his cruelty could have made me. She leans forward into the microphone. This foundation is not about making Mr. Sterling feel better. It is about ensuring my parents' names mean something, that they stood for supporting people instead of crushing them, that their legacy is measured in artists who get to create, families who get to stay whole, lives that get to be lived. A woman reporter stands. Ms. Martinez, do you hate Marcus Sterling? Elena is quiet for a moment. Honest. I hate what he did. I am still deciding how I feel about who he is. But I know this. Hate takes energy I do not have to spare. I would rather use that energy to create, to heal, to honor my parents. So no, I do not hate him. I just want him to do better. And I want that publicly, where everyone can see. She steps back from the microphone. The room erupts with questions, but Sterling and Elena walk out together, Catherine at their side. They do not answer the shouted queries. They have said what needed to be said. In a private office away from the chaos, Sterling turns to Elena. Thank you. That took courage. Elena sits down heavily. Her legs are shaking now that the adrenaline is fading. I just told the entire world my family's most painful story. You told it with dignity. Catherine hands her a bottle of water. And you framed it on your terms. Cross wanted you to be either a victim or an accomplice. You refused both narratives. What happens now? Elena drinks the water gratefully. Now we wait to see how it plays. Sterling's phone is buzzing constantly, but he ignores it. The stock will continue to fall. There will be lawsuits, investigations. My career as I knew it is over. Do you regret it? Elena studies his face. Being honest? No. Sterling looks older than he did this morning, but somehow lighter. Margaret used to say the truth will set you free, but first it will make you miserable. She was right. I am miserable and free. They stay in the office for an hour while the news cycle processes what just happened. Catherine monitors social media and news sites giving updates. It is splitting along predictable lines. She scrolls through her phone. Some outlets are calling you both brave. Others are saying Sterling is buying redemption. The financial press is focused on the stock price. But she pauses. The human interest stories are starting to pick up. People are sharing their own stories of family members whose work was stolen, of dreams deferred, of systems that value profit over people. Good. Elena feels exhausted but satisfied. Let them talk. Let it be uncomfortable. Truth should be uncomfortable. Her phone rings. Unknown number. She almost does not answer, but something makes her pick up. Ms. Martinez? A woman's voice, professional but warm. My name is Dr. Sarah Chen. I am the director of the Brooklyn Museum. I saw your press conference. Oh, Elena is not sure what to expect. We would like to offer you a solo exhibition. 3 months from now, we want to showcase not just your work, but your journey. From Pratt to the Silver Dove to this moment. Dr. Chen's voice is enthusiastic. Your story is extraordinary, and we believe your art will be too. Elena sits up straight. I have not created anything new in 3 years. Then you have 3 months. Dr. Chen sounds confident. We believe in you, Ms. Martinez. Your mother clearly taught you well. After the call ends, Elena sits in stunned silence. An exhibition. At a real museum. 3 months to create enough work to fill a gallery. It is impossible. It is terrifying. It is everything she has dreamed of. Can you do it? Catherine asks gently. I do not know, Elena admits. But I want to try. For the first time in 3 years, I actually want to try. Sterling stands. Then we should get you home. You have work to do. The drive back to Brooklyn is quieter. Elena watches the city pass outside the window and thinks about everything that has changed in the past 72 hours. She sent a letter about Grace to a billionaire. That billionaire investigated her family, tested her character, and is now offering restitution. She stood in front of cameras and told the world her parents' story. And now a museum wants to exhibit her art. None of it feels real. But the exhaustion in her bones is very real. So is the hope flickering in her chest like a candle that might blow out but has not yet. When they reach her apartment building, Sterling walks her to the door. An old man in an expensive suit climbing 3 flights of stairs in a building that smells like cooking oil and dreams deferred. You did not have to walk me up. Elena unlocks her door. Yes, I did. Sterling is slightly out of breath. Your father walked away from my office 30 years ago with his dignity intact. I need to see where his daughters live. Need to understand what my choices cost. He looks around at the small apartment, the water stain on the ceiling, the curtain dividing the space, the stack of medical bills on the counter. His face does not change, but Elena sees his hands tighten into fists. I am sorry, his voice is rough, for all of it. Then make the foundation everything you promised. Elena meets his eyes. Make my father's name mean something good. That is how you apologize. I will. Sterling turns to leave, then stops. Your mother, Rosa. What was she like? Elena smiles despite everything. She was fierce, protective. She believed the best in people even when they did not deserve it. She used to say that bending is not the same as breaking, that grace is choosing to stand up after you have been knocked down. She would be proud of you. Sterling's voice is certain. You are exactly who she raised you to be. After he leaves, Elena sits on the couch and waits for Sophia to wake up. Her sister has been sleeping more lately, the illness taking its toll. But today, when Sophia opens her eyes, Elena has good news to share. Real news. The medical trust is real. The foundation is real. The exhibition is real. Their mother's voice echoes in both their minds. Grace is the hardest strength, and together, they have been strong enough. Elena looks at the stack of bills on the counter. Tomorrow, she will start calling to arrange payment. Tomorrow, she will go to Sterling's studio and begin creating again. Tomorrow, she will start the work of turning this impossible opportunity into something real. But today, she just sits with her sister and tells her stories about their parents, about Rafael's brilliant mind and gentle heart, about Rosa's fierce love and unshakable faith, about how grace planted 30 years ago is finally bearing fruit. The seed has taken root. Now they will see what grows. 3 months can change everything. 3 months can transform a waitress back into an artist, can turn a dying girl into a young woman discovering her strength, can convert blood money into something that looks almost like redemption. 3 months is not enough time to heal all wounds, but it is enough time to prove that healing is possible. The studio at Sterling's house becomes Elena's sanctuary. Every morning she takes the train north, walks the mile from the station through woods that are transforming from winter brown to spring green, and enters the space that still feels too good to be true. The marble waits, the tools gleam, the light pours through floor-to-ceiling windows like a benediction. She has been creating again, not just working, but creating. The difference is everything. Work is what you do to survive. Creation is what you do to live. Her hands remember things she thought they had forgotten. How to see the form hiding inside the stone. How to let the chisel follow the natural grain. How to be patient with the slow revelation of shape from shapelessness. Some mornings she works for hours and produces nothing but chips and dust. Other days, a curve emerges that makes her heart catch because it is exactly right. The centerpiece for the exhibition is nearly finished. She calls it the circle. 5 female figures in bronze, life-size, arranged in a ring with hands reaching toward the center. Each woman is different. A young girl with hopeful eyes, a woman in her prime, strong and purposeful, a mother with gentle hands, a mature woman with the posture of someone who has weathered storms, an elder with wisdom, written in every line of her face. In the center where their hands almost meet, Elena has created a tree. Not a realistic tree, but something more symbolic. The trunk is formed from intertwined hands. The branches are reaching arms. The leaves are open palms. At the base, embedded in the bronze, is a single dollar bill cast from the original, the one Marcus Sterling left her, the seed from which all of this grew. The sculpture tells a story about women lifting each other, about community creating life together, about how what seems worthless can become priceless if you choose to see it differently. Critics who have previewed the work in photographs are already calling it her masterpiece. Elena does not know about that. She only knows it feels true. There are other pieces too. Smaller works exploring grief and survival and transformation. A series of hands in various materials, stone hands reaching, clay hands holding, bronze hands letting go, metal hands creating. Each pair tells a story about the things we hold and the things we must release. One piece she keeps separate from the exhibition collection. It is personal, private. Two hands carved from white marble, almost touching, the space between them precise and intentional, one hand weathered and calloused, the other smooth and young. In the narrow gap between them floats a bronze feather, suspended as if by magic, though it is actually held by a thin steel wire invisible from most angles. The feather represents all the words left unspoken between her and her father, all the conversations they will never have, all the forgiveness that must happen across the unbridgeable distance between the living and the dead. She is working on this piece when Sterling visits the studio. He comes once a week, always calling ahead, always respectful of her space. Today, he brings coffee from the cafe in town and sits quietly watching her work for almost an hour before speaking. It is beautiful. His voice is soft so as not to break her concentration. Your father would be proud. Elena sets down her tools and accepts the coffee gratefully. I wish he could see it, see all of this. In a way, he does. Sterling gestures at the room, at the sculptures, at Elena herself covered in marble dust and more alive than she has been in years. This is his legacy, not the algorithm I stole. This, you creating, you thriving, you carrying forward the values he believed in. They sit in comfortable silence. Their relationship has evolved into something neither of them has words for. Not friendship exactly, not employer and employee, something more complicated. Two people bound by history and hurt who are trying to build something better from the wreckage. The foundation is officially operational now. Catherine serves as president. Sophia, recovered enough to work part-time, handles outreach and applications. Maria Santos from the Silver Dove retired from the restaurant and now serves as what they call the Community Wisdom Advisor, which means she tells everyone when their ideas are too complicated or disconnected from reality. The board includes artists, teachers, social workers, and people who have actually struggled, not just studied struggle from a distance. In 3 months, they have awarded grants to 127 artists. They have begun the process of making restitution to the 247 names on Sterling's list. The work is slow and complicated and necessary. Every check sent is an acknowledgement that what happened was wrong. And here is a small attempt to make it less wrong. Vincent Cross accepted the position offered to him, Director of Restorative Justice, reporting directly to Sophia. The hierarchy was intentional. A man who tried to use Elena's pain for revenge now takes orders from a 19-year-old who survived what could have killed her. Elena watches Cross at foundation meetings and sees a man transformed by humility. He works harder than anyone, never complains, seems genuinely committed to helping instead of hurting. One day after a meeting, he approaches Elena. Can we talk? Just for a moment? They walk to a window overlooking the Brooklyn street, where the foundation has its modest offices. Not Sterling's gleaming tower, but a renovated brownstone in a neighborhood that actually needs the help they are providing. I owe you an apology. Cross's voice lacks all the smooth salesmanship she remembers from their first encounter. What I tried to do, using your family's story, it was wrong. I was so focused on hurting Sterling that I did not care who else got hurt in the process. Elena studies his face. He looks older, tireder, more honest. What changed? Working here. Cross gestures at the office around them, seeing what actual restitution looks like versus revenge dressed up as justice. Meeting the people we help, understanding that healing is harder than hurting but more important. He pauses. Your sister said something to me once. She said bitterness is a poison you drink hoping someone else will die. I was drinking that poison for years. And now? Elena's voice is gentle. Now I am trying to build an immunity. Cross almost smiles. It is harder than I expected. Elena nods. She understands that better than most. The work of choosing grace over bitterness every single day. Of waking up and deciding again that you will not let hate consume you. It is exhausting, but it is also the only way forward. The weeks blur together in a rhythm of creation and preparation. The exhibition opening is scheduled for a Friday evening in late May. Elena alternates between confidence that her work is good enough and terror that she is about to expose herself as a fraud. Catherine, who has become an unexpected friend, talks her down from the panic attacks. Your work is extraordinary, Catherine's voice is firm. I have been to 1,000 gallery openings with mediocre art by mediocre artists with connections. This is not that. This is real. How do you know? Elena is pacing the studio the week before the opening. What if everyone hates it? Then everyone hates it, and the world keeps turning. Catherine catches Elena's shoulders and makes her stop moving. But they will not hate it, they will see what I see. A woman who survived impossible circumstances and created beauty anyway. That is powerful. That matters. Catherine has her own news to share. She is meeting her daughter for the first time next week. The adoption agency forwarded her letter, and her daughter, Rachel, wrote back. They have been exchanging emails for 2 months. Careful at first, then increasingly warm. Rachel is a teacher in Portland, married, happy, and curious about the woman who gave her life and then gave her away. I am terrified, Catherine admits. What if she hates me? What if I am a disappointment? What if she does not? Elena counters. What if this is the beginning of something good? The night before the exhibition, Elena cannot sleep. She lies in her small apartment listening to Sophia breathe steadily in the next room. Her sister is healthier than she has been in years. The new treatment protocol is working. Her energy is returning. She has gained weight. The color is back in her face. Watching Sophia recover is like watching someone come back from the dead. It is miraculous and terrifying because now Elena has something to lose again. She gets up and makes tea, sits at the kitchen table in the darkness. Tomorrow night, hundreds of people will see her work. We'll judge it. We'll decide if she is a real artist or just someone with a sad story and a wealthy patron. The weight of expectation feels crushing. Her phone buzzes. A text from Sterling. Cannot sleep either. Too nervous for tomorrow. Is that foolish for a man my age? Elena smiles despite her anxiety. She texts back. We are both foolish then. His response is immediate. Good company to be foolish in. Your parents would be proud. I am proud. Now get some rest. Tomorrow you show the world who Elena Martinez is. The Brooklyn Museum is transformed for the opening. The main gallery has been cleared, and Elena's sculptures installed with dramatic lighting that makes them seem to glow from within. The circle dominates the center of the room, the 5 women forever reaching toward each other, the tree of hands rising from their connection. Around the perimeter, the smaller works create a narrative of loss and survival and transformation. Elena arrives early wearing a simple black dress that Catherine helped her choose. Not too formal, not too casual, artist appropriate. Sophia is with her, steady on her feet, radiant in deep blue. Catherine arrives with Marcus Sterling, who has become frailer in recent months but refuses to miss this night. The doors open and people flood in. Critics and collectors and journalists and ordinary people who read about Elena's story and wanted to see what came from it. The room fills with the hum of conversation and the clink of glasses and the soft gasps of people encountering the circle for the first time. Elena stands to the side watching people interact with her work. A woman reaches out to touch the bronze hands of the mother figure, tears streaming down her face. A young man stares at the circle for 10 minutes without moving, completely absorbed. A couple argues quietly about the meaning of the suspended feather. An art critic takes notes with furious concentration. Dr. Chen, the museum director, introduces Elena to a steady stream of people, collectors who want to buy pieces, gallery owners who want to represent her, magazine editors who want interviews. It is overwhelming and exhilarating and surreal. But the moment that matters most comes later in the evening. Elena is talking to a young artist about technique when she sees them. A group of people from the Silver Dove. Maria in a beautiful dress she probably bought special for tonight. Ben in a suit that does not quite fit. Richard the maitre d' looking awkward outside his natural habitat. June and Diane and a dozen other servers and kitchen staff. Her people. Her community. Maria approaches and pulls Elena into a fierce hug. Mija, this is incredible. Your mother is dancing in heaven right now. You came. Elena is crying and does not care who sees. You all came. Of course we came. Ben grins. You are one of us. Always. They spend an hour with her. These people who served alongside her, who watched her struggle, who knew her when she was just trying to survive each shift. Their presence means more than all the critics and collectors combined. They saw who she was. Now they see who she has become. The bridge between those 2 versions of herself is made of their kindness and solidarity and faith. As the evening winds down, Elena finds herself standing in front of the circle with Sterling. They look at the sculpture in silence. The 5 women, the tree of hands, the embedded dollar bill catching the light. You did it. Sterling's voice is rough with emotion. You took the worst thing I ever did to you and turned it into this. We did it. Elena corrects gently. You provided resources. Catherine provided guidance. Sophia provided purpose. Maria provided wisdom. Vincent provided cautionary tale. We all did this together. That is what the sculpture means. No one creates alone. Still, Sterling looks at her. It came from your hands, your vision, your refusal to let bitterness win. They stand together for a moment more. Then Sterling speaks again. I need to tell you something. My heart condition has worsened. The doctors give me perhaps a year, maybe less. Elena turns to face him. Her first instinct is to offer sympathy, but she sees in his eyes that he does not want it. I am sorry. Do not be. Sterling's expression is peaceful. I have made my peace. The foundation is established. Your sister is healthy. You are creating again. The restitution work is underway. I have done what I can to make things right. Now, I can rest. What do you need? Elena's question is practical. For you to keep going. Sterling's voice is firm. Keep creating. Keep supporting other artists. Keep telling your parents' story. That is my legacy now, not the money or the company. This, you. I will, Elena promises. We all will. The museum exhibition runs for 3 months and draws record crowds. Art critics debate the work's merits. 3 pieces sell to major collectors for prices that make Elena dizzy. But more importantly, the foundation receives hundreds of applications from artists who saw the exhibition and now believe they have a chance. 6 months after the opening, Elena stands in the gilded hall of the same restaurant where this all began. The Silver Dove has invited her to a special dinner, not to work, to be honored. They have created a scholarship in her name for employees pursuing artistic careers. The first recipient is Ben, who is enrolled in culinary school and discovering that cooking is his art form. The restaurant looks exactly as she remembers. The same elegant tables, the same soft lighting, the same sense that this is a place for people with money, while she will always be the help. Except tonight, she is not the help. She is the guest of honor sitting at table 12, the alcove by the garden, the place where Marcus Sterling left her $1 and changed everything. Sophia is beside her, healthy and vibrant and about to start college to study nonprofit management. Catherine is there with Rachel, her daughter, who flew in from Portland for the occasion. They have been building a relationship slowly, carefully, learning each other. Rachel looks like Catherine around the eyes and mouth. The resemblance is startling and beautiful. Maria sits at the head of the table wearing a corsage because the restaurant staff insisted. She has become the matriarch of this unlikely family they have built. Vincent Cross is there too, quiet and respectful, still doing penance through service. The meal is excellent. The conversation flows easily. They toast Rafael and Rosa Martinez, whose names now grace a foundation that has changed hundreds of lives. They toast Sterling, who is too ill to attend, but sent champagne with a note that reads, "To grace, to second chances, to seeds that grow in unlikely soil." When the check comes, Elena takes it before anyone can object. The total is $2,430. She pulls out her wallet and places a credit card in the leather billfold. Then she does something else. She takes out 5 crisp $100 bills and writes on the merchant copy, "For all the artists you will become, for choosing to create instead of just survive, for remembering that your value is not what others assign it, but what you choose to build. Keep growing, keep creating, keep choosing grace." She signs it Elena Martinez and hands it to their server, a young woman who reminds Elena of herself 3 years ago. Tired, talented, trapped. The woman looks at the tip and her eyes go wide. "Ma'am, this is too much." "No." Elena's voice is firm. "It is exactly right. Invested in yourself. I did, and look what grew." The evening ends with hugs and promises to gather again soon. Elena and Sophia walk home through Brooklyn streets that feel different now, safer, warmer, full of possibility instead of threat. They stop at their parents' grave on the way. It is late, but the cemetery is always open. The new headstone that Sterling paid for gleams white in the moonlight. Rafael Martinez, brilliant engineer, loving father. His genius changed the world. His love changed our hearts. Rosa Martinez, devoted nurse, fierce mother. Her hands healed bodies, her heart healed souls. Together, they taught their daughters. Grace does not mean being weak. It means being strong enough to bend without breaking. Elena places flowers at the base of the stone, sits on the grass beside her sister. The night is quiet, except for the distant sound of traffic and someone's music playing blocks away. We did it, Mama. Papa. Elena's voice is soft. We survived. We healed. We are creating something beautiful from what was broken. I hope that makes you proud. Sophia leans her head on Elena's shoulder. They would be so proud. Of you especially. You chose grace when you had every right to choose bitterness. It was not easy, Elena admits. Some days it still is not easy. I wake up angry about what Sterling took from us, about how different our lives could have been. But you choose it anyway. Sophia squeezes her hand. That is what makes it grace. If it was easy, it would just be niceness. They sit until the moon is high and the air grows cool. Then they walk home together. Two sisters who survived impossible odds and came out the other side not unscathed, but unbroken. 2 years pass. The foundation flourishes. More than 1,000 artists have been funded. The restitution work continues, healing old wounds one check at a time. Elena creates steadily, building a body of work that critics are calling some of the most important sculptural art of the decade. She has had 3 more solo exhibitions. Museums are acquiring her pieces. She is interviewed and profiled and celebrated. But she still remembers where she came from, still visits the Silver Dove regularly, still mentors young artists struggling to survive, still shows up. Marcus Sterling dies on a quiet Tuesday morning in his sleep. The funeral is small, as he requested. No state honors, no corporate tributes, just the people whose lives he touched in his final years. Elena speaks, her words carefully chosen. Marcus Sterling was not a perfect man. He would be the first to tell you that. He built an empire on others' genius. He made mistakes that cost people their futures. But he spent his final years trying to make things right. And that is worth remembering. He taught me that redemption is not about erasing mistakes. It is about acknowledging them and building something better from the ruins. The Rafael and Rosa Martinez Foundation is his legacy. But more than that, it is his apology. Made real, made permanent, made meaningful. She looks at the simple casket. Mr. Sterling, you tested me with $1. I tested you with a foundation. I would say we both passed. Rest well, your work is done. Ours continues. At the reception afterward, Catherine approaches Elena. He left you something, a letter. Elena takes the envelope, opens it with shaking hands. Inside is a single page in Sterling's precise handwriting. Elena, by the time you read this, I will be gone. Good. I have been tired for a long time, and I am ready to rest. But before I go, I need to tell you something I could never quite say in person. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me as a man capable of change, instead of a monster beyond redemption. Thank you for demanding better, instead of accepting less. Thank you for choosing grace when you had every right to choose rage. You saved my life in a way. Not the quantity of my years, but the quality of my final ones. Because of you, I die knowing I did some good. That is a gift I did not deserve, but will cherish eternally. Keep creating, keep lifting others, keep proving that seeds planted in the hardest ground can grow into forests. Your father would be so proud. So would your mother. And so am I. With deep respect and gratitude, Marcus Sterling. Elena reads it 3 times, then carefully folds it and places it in her wallet next to the $1 bill she has carried for 3 years. The seed and the fruit, the beginning and the middle of a story that is still being written. 5 years after the $1 tip, Elena Martinez stands in the center of a vast new building. The Rosa Martinez Center for Emerging Artists is 3 stories of light-filled studios and gallery spaces and classrooms. It is located not in Manhattan, but in Brooklyn, in a neighborhood that needs it. Young artists work at easels and potter's wheels and welding stations. The walls display work by current grant recipients alongside pieces by Rafael Martinez. Architectural drawings and algorithm sketches preserved as the art they always were. Sophia runs the center's day-to-day operations. She is 24 now, healthy and strong and fierce. She has turned the foundation into something even more effective than they imagined. Under her leadership, they are not just funding artists, but advocating for healthcare reform, workers' rights, and ethical business practices. She is her mother's daughter, a healer who fights. Elena maintains a studio on the top floor where she creates and teaches. She has 15 students currently, all of them receiving full scholarships. All of them people who were told they could not make it as artists because they lack connections or money or privilege. She tells them what her father told her. Your value comes from what you create, not what others think of you. Catherine visits often. She has retired from law and returned to painting. Her watercolors are delicate and emotional and selling well at local galleries. She and Rachel have built a relationship that is still careful but deepening. Last month, Rachel brought her own daughter to meet her grandmother for the first time. 3 generations of women learning what it means to forgive and be forgiven. Maria is in her late 60s now and slowing down, but she still comes to the center twice a week to tell students stories and offer advice and remind everyone that grace without grit is just sentiment. She has become the foundation's heart, the keeper of the story, the one who remembers why they do this work. Vincent Cross runs the Restitution Initiative with methodical dedication. In 5 years, they have contacted and compensated 340 people that Sterling's business practices harmed. Each case requires research and negotiation and care. Cross approaches the work like penance, which perhaps it is. He will never be Elena's friend, but he has become her colleague in the work of healing. On a Saturday in October, Elena receives a call from a number she does not recognize. She almost lets it go to voicemail, but something makes her answer. Is this Elena Martinez? A man's voice, young and uncertain. The artist? Yes, who is this? My name is David Reyes. He pauses. This is going to sound strange, but I think your father knew my father. They worked together at Nexus Systems in the early 90s. Elena sits down. The name Reyes is on Sterling's list. One of the people they have been trying to find. Tell me about your father. He was an engineer. Brilliant, everyone said. But after that company got bought out, he could never find work at his level again. He died 5 years ago. David's voice is thick. I just found some old documents in his things. Letters to your dad. Designs they worked on together. I wanted you to know that my father spoke about Rafael Martinez with so much respect. Called him the smartest man he ever met. Elena feels tears forming. Would you like to meet? To talk about our fathers? Yes. David sounds relieved. Yes, I would like that very much. They make plans to meet next week. After the call ends, Elena sits in her studio looking out at the Brooklyn skyline. The city that took so much from her family has also given back in ways she never expected. Community, purpose, a way forward that honors the past without being trapped by it. She turns to her current project, a massive installation for the Museum of Modern Art, 20 hands in different materials and sizes, all reaching upward, all open, all releasing birds made from hammered copper. It is called The Letting Go, and it is about forgiveness, about how you can acknowledge harm without being destroyed by it, about how you can remember the dead without being haunted by them, about how sometimes the most radical act is to simply keep creating. Elena works until the light fades and the city lights begin to sparkle in the growing darkness. She thinks about the $1 tip that started everything, about how the worst moment of her life became the catalyst for the best transformation she could imagine, about how grace, real grace, is not about being nice or weak or passive. It is about being strong enough to choose hope over hatred, growth over grievance, creation over destruction. The dollar bill still sits on her shelf, framed now. Next to it is a photograph of her parents on their wedding day, young and hopeful and in love. Beside that is a picture of Sophia at her college graduation, healthy and radiant. And next to that, a photograph of the circle sculpture in the museum, 5 women forever reaching toward each other, building beauty from connection. Seeds planted in the hardest ground. That is what her mother used to say. They grow slowly, but they grow strong. Deep roots that cannot easily be torn out. Branches that reach toward light. Fruit that feeds others. Elena Martinez was a waitress who became an artist. A survivor who became a creator. A woman crushed by circumstance who chose to build rather than break. Her story is not about a billionaire's redemption. It is about a daughter's refusal to let bitterness poison her, about a sister's fierce love, about a community's power to transform individual tragedy into collective healing. The $1 tip was meant to test her. Instead, it planted a seed, and from that seed has grown a forest where other artists can find shelter, where other families can find hope, where grace multiplies and spreads and creates possibility, where there was only pain. Outside her window, Brooklyn pulses with life. Somewhere in the city, a young artist is deciding whether to give up or keep trying. Somewhere, a family is struggling with medical bills. Somewhere, someone is working 3 jobs just to survive. Elena knows these people, was these people, is still these people in the part of her heart that remembers. Tomorrow, she will reach out to David Reyes and hear stories about his father. She will continue teaching her students. She will work on the museum installation. She will attend a foundation board meeting where they will approve another 50 grants. She will have dinner with Sophia and Catherine and Maria. She will live the life she almost lost. But tonight, she stands in her studio and allows herself to simply feel grateful for second chances, for communities that catch you when you fall, for the courage to choose grace when rage would be justified, for seeds that grow in unlikely soil, for her parents' legacy living on in work that matters. The city glitters below her. The future stretches ahead, unknown but no longer terrifying. And somewhere, in a place beyond grief and regret, Elena imagines her parents watching, proud of who she has become, proud of what she has built from what was broken, proud that their daughter remembered what they taught her. Grace is not weakness. It is the hardest strength there is. And sometimes the smallest gesture, the most insulting moment, the deepest wound can become the seed from which an entire forest grows. Elena picks up her tools and returns to work. There is always more to create, always more beauty to coax from stone, always more hands reaching toward each other across the distances that separate us. And she will be here, creating and teaching and remembering, for as long as she has breath and vision and hands that remember how to shape meaning from marble. The $1 seed has become a forest, and the forest is still growing.